Control to PC Jackson.
Jackson, go ahead, Sarge.
Got a body for you, Jacko. Now, go to the King's Head on Oak Street. There should be a Mr. Morris waiting by the phone box outside, if he hasn't got cold feet.
Eh?
Sounds like he's with a married bird. Get him to show you where the body is, then hang on to him, but do nothing yourself. Now, keep your muddy boots off and see they do the same.
Okay, Sarge.
Meanwhile, I'll try and raise CID. Here, Jimmy, where's Inspector Thomas?
Zipping about playing Kojak.
Eh?
Had a call through direct a while back. I reckon it's a tip on those break-ins. Didn't say nothing to me, just nips off sneaky-like.
Yes, wants to keep his snouts to himself.
That scrubber. He's welcome to her. What do you want him for?
Stiff on the common. Throat cut.
Nice.
Yes, well, I don't have the strength of it yet. Just had an informant on the phone. The boy wonder should be with him by now.
I'll handle it.
Yeah, I thought you had a dinner party tonight.
That's right. Couple of Maureen's boring friends. They'll start going on about the decline of capitalism. Puts me off me grub, that. They never say what happened to football.
Yeah, be a bit lonely for you out there. The socko's off on a job too.
You ever known a scene of the crime officer where you want him? You organise a photographer in the trimmings, and I'll give Maureen the sad tidings.
OK, Jimmy.
Body on the Heath by Bill Lyons, with Douglas Livingstone, Nigel Hawthorne and Colette O'Neill.
Hello, love.
Hello. Oh, Jimmy, did you get the wine?
Yeah, but something's come up.
Oh, no.
Sus death. Don't know the strength yet.
Well, can't someone else?
Don't you read the papers, Mo? The force is seriously undermanned.
Are you telling me it's so bad the Met hasn't got a single detective sergeant to spare bar you?
Scout's honour.
Liar. It's just you don't like John and Margaret. Well, what are you doing for grub?
Oh, I'll get a sandwich from the canteen. You save us a bit of that cheesecake, though, won't you?
You'll be lucky.
I'll try not to be too late.
You want to be careful, they might still be here.
I'll drop the wine in on my way past. See you, love.
See you, Judas.
The gentleman who phoned. Officer. The lady's gone, Sarge.
Opted, eh?
Well, you can't blame her if her husband finds out.
Yes, I think we got the picture, sir. Are you going to take us to this body, then?
Oh, I suppose I have to. It's this way. It's just behind those bushes there. I'd rather not have to see it again, if you don't mind.
Fair enough, you wait here.
Oh, thank you.
Ooh, this muck's going to make a mess of your nice uniform, Jacko. You'll have to get up even earlier to polish your boots tomorrow.
Oh. God. I see why he held back. Pretty horrible.
Never bother me once they're dead. I mean, they don't even look like people, do they? Mind you, I can see you'd be in for a bit of a shock if you just crawled in here for a bit of how's your father.
He doesn't strike me as that sort of man at all, Sarge.
I thought you'd finished your probationary period, Jackson.
I have.
You haven't learned much about human nature, have you? What do you reckon to this body? Come on, dazzle me with all that cadet learning your head stuff with.
Well, it's suicide, isn't it, Sarge? Knife in the right hand, body position suggests it too.
Why here?
Dunno. Well, why anyway?
Think about it! If it's spur of the moment, there's got to be a weapon handy. Razor blade in the bathroom. Chain in the bog. Kitchen's not so popular since they switched to natural gas. But even if it's planned, you don't commit suicide in a public place unless you've got nowhere to go, or you want to make a spectacle of it. Reckon that fits in?
How can you tell?
Not enough blood either. Plenty on the neck and the clothes. Practically nothing on the grass.
So you think he was moved here after he died?
Top of the class, Jacko. We're making progress. Get on to control, tell them we're not happy, we want a forensic pathologist.
Well, shouldn't we wait for the Socko? He's on his way.
Get on with it, shall we, before that stiff gets any colder. We'll need lights.
Lights?
You ever tried to raise a pathologist before?
No.
Well, they're even more undermanned than we are. By the time you get one, we'll need lights. Oh, you best tell Control inform the DI if they can find him.
Right, Sarge.
Meanwhile, I'll see what sort of tale Casanova's got to tell. We're still waiting on him.
Not my fault, Jimmy. He's out Liverpool way.
What they got we haven't.
Watchman burned up in a warehouse.
Frying tonight, eh? Trouble is, we don't even know who Chummy is yet.
Look, Jimmy, I'm going to get yelled at if you keep hogging the radio.
Sorry, signing off. Here we sit like birds in the wilderness, birds in the moon, birds in the wilderness. Another few inches, he might have had his head off, you know. Had one like that when I worked near Box Hill. Body at the top, head 10 yards away. Must have rolled, I suppose.
Give it a rest, Sarge.
Stomach bad? Don't tell me you can't take it, old son.
I've been feeling off all evening. I reckon I ate something.
Curry. Never eat curry in the canteen. That's what they do with the pensioned-off police dogs. Want a fag?
I don't, thanks.
No, you wouldn't. No vices. The sort of clean-cut lad all the ads are aimed at. Tomorrow's policeman.
You don't like me, do you, Sarge?
Whatever gave you that impression?
You're always having a go at me.
That's not having a go, son. That's irony. I'm giving you the benefit of my downbeat humour.
Well, I wish you wouldn't.
If you really want to know, it's your keenness gets up my nose.
Well, I am keen. I can't help that. I want to make a career of it.
Oh, God.
Well, why not? It's not my fault if you've...
Missed the boat. Don't bother to spare my feelings. I know I'll never make Chief Constable. I've come to terms with it.
Well, maybe I will.
Good luck to you. I'll still be a better Jack than you could ever make. Where's that bloody pathologist?
It's your fault we've had to wait.
Eh?
The scene of crime officer said we should have called out Dr. Morrison. He'd have been here and gone by now.
That bumbling idiot. I'd rather wait all night.
Well, you should take some notice of the socko.
I know what needs doing better than he does.
Oh. Let Scotland Yard know how you feel, shall I? Perhaps they'll scrap the whole scheme.
I wish they would. That bloke tonight, he's a boffin. Never been a copper. What's he going to tell me about running this sort of show?
God, if I'm tomorrow's policeman, you're certainly yesterday's Jack.
All I'm saying is we got on all right for years without him. If I've got flu, I'll call out Dr. Morrison. That's his job. But I don't like the smell of this one. I want a professional on it. Had a GP once, diagnosed a stabbing as heart failure. In too much of a rush to even open his bag. Here he is.
Yes, trying to read.
Has been all evening.
I hope he keeps off till we've finished.
I doubt it. Body's over here.
Thank you. Dr. Patterson.
Jimmy Vogel, that's PC Jackson.
Dr. Patterson.
Of course, the garden could do with it.
Wouldn't know, haven't even got a window box.
There's my ruling passion.
Here we are. Not a pretty sight, eh?
No. It used to be all roses, but with the price of food rocketing, I've gone in for some veg this year. Any chance of a bit more light on his throat?
Sorry, that's all we can give you. We might be able to angle it a bit more, though.
Right, Sarge.
Thank you. Because I can't make up my mind whether a greenhouse would be a good buy. You see, my wife likes the idea of fresh salad all the year round, but it means heating costs in winter.
Fuel charges going up all the time, too?
Phil says I should look on it as an investment.
Look, Doc, what do you reckon? Is it murder?
Well, give me a chance, lad.
Don't mind him, it'll be his first. Biggest crime he's had so far was 20 fags out the machine on the corner.
Eager beaver,
I just feel we've wasted hours already. If it is murder, we ought to be out and doing something.
Put yourself in my shoes, lad. I've driven 60-odd miles to find you lot waiting on me like the word of God. All it needs is for me to say there's no crime and everything's switched off and we can all go home to bed.
But a murderer might be getting off scot-free.
Exactly. But if I say it's sinister, you'll pull out all the stops, cancel leave for a few dozen blokes, launch appeals on television, the wax. I've got to be certain.
Finished?
All I can do here, been dead 6 to 10 hours. It's a queer one.
That's what I thought.
If it was just the cut, I would have said suicide. It's a classic incision. It begins high on the left, passes down across the front and ends at the right. Deeper at the origin, then tails off. All consistent with a right-handed person having cut his own throat.
And here's Chummy conveniently placed with a knife in his right hand.
Yes, just the one clean cut, though.
So?
That's unusual. It's not an easy thing to commit suicide, especially like this. Not many people could do it in one go. You'd expect smaller, tentative incisions at the top of the wound.
Where he'd tried but chickened out.
Maybe he had more guts than most people.
Well, maybe. That wouldn't explain the bruising, though.
What bruising?
Back of the neck, shoulders and ankles, no vital reaction.
So it was done after death?
Certainly.
Which means there was another person or persons involved.
He was dragged here.
So, you were right, Sarge.
And I'd say he'd been jammed in a confined space before that.
Car boot?
Oh, possible.
Right.
Likely.
So wherever it was done, someone didn't want him found there.
You're not expecting me to speculate on that, are you, Sergeant?
No, just thinking aloud. They don't want us to know who he is either. We had a careful look through his pockets before you arrived. Oh, we were very careful not to disturb anything, of course.
Of course.
Nothing. Not even a bus ticket.
Hard luck.
I don't suppose you've got anything for me?
Not yet. I'm more hopeful after I've got him on the slab. His teeth look well cared for.
I'd appreciate anything, otherwise it's pages of missing persons. Right, needle in an haystack job, that
I'll
is.
do my best.
Recent sexual activity?
No.
Booze?
Well, no sign of it. He was wrapped in something for a time. Sheet, maybe. There are fibre particles in the blood around his neck.
Well, we should stand a pretty good chance with witnesses anyway, Sarge.
You reckon?
There's always plenty of people on the heath, walking their dogs, courting couples. It'd be hard to dump a 6-foot parcel without someone seeing it.
Don't you believe it? People see what they want to see. You could dump a corpse on the high street and no one would notice, provided you didn't do it on a yellow line.
Shouldn't we be getting on with it, Sarge?
You're right. Get on to control. Tell them the doc's confirmed we got a serious crime on our hands. Cry havoc and let slip the dogs of war.
Eh?
It's an old police expression, son. Means your boots will need soling and healing before the week's out.
Oh, no.
Sorry. Didn't mean to wake you, love.
Oh, what time is it?
Late.
Oh, God almighty.
But now you are awake.
I'm not.
Do you want a sandwich? I felt a bit peckish. Made myself a couple of rounds.
No, thanks. Did you get anything to eat tonight?
Forgot all about it.
Oh, and you wonder why you're so constipated.
I'll leave off. You put me off my grub. How was dinner?
Oh, okay. Oh, I left you some cheesecake in the fridge.
I know. Had it on the way up.
4 ham sandwiches.
Why not?
Your stomach must be like the municipal tip. How is the body?
Didn't say much.
You surprise me. Murder?
Could be.
Who's in charge?
Superintendent Fraser. Right little whiz kid he is.
Oh, yeah.
He's still at it now. Doesn't go to sleep nights, just plugs in at the mains for a quick recharge.
I gather you don't like him.
He's your scientific copper. Run it through the computer, it'll come up with a criminal. You'll have our job with this one, though. We've got nothing to go on.
Are you staying on the case?
Oh, yeah, I'll see it through.
Get to bed now, eh?
Hardly seems worth it. Early start in the morning, report to finish for the DI, then the pathologist, then Fraser's briefing.
And you've not forgotten it's the school concert tomorrow. Tina's playing her violin.
Oh, yeah. Wish her luck for me.
Oh, you said you were coming.
Well, I said if I could. I might not make it now, not with this body.
Oh, Jimmy.
I didn't plan it like this. Surely you can explain that to her.
I think you should explain it to her for a change. Be nice for her to talk to her father, even if it is only to hear the same old excuses.
That's not fair, love.
Isn't it?
Look, I'll try and get away early.
Good night, Jimmy.
Morning, Sergeant. Or is it afternoon?
Sorry I'm late, sir.
I was just explaining to the doctor that we're in his hands over this. As it stands, we've got nothing to go on, and we can't afford the manpower for a real blanket inquiry, especially when I imagine suicide hasn't been entirely ruled out.
Well, as a solo effort it can be, but suicide with the complicity of a person or persons unknown is still in the running.
Fair enough.
Have we got any nearer to who he is yet?
I think I can help quite a bit there.
Thank God for that.
Age, 18 to 22, no physical defects or abnormalities. As a matter of interest, I'd say he was a perfect weight for his height.
Lucky fella. Wish I could say the same.
There's a callosity on the outer side of the distal phalanx, right hand, which indicates he did a lot of writing or drawing.
Student, clerk, draftsman...
It's very possible. Callosities on the fingertips of the left hand indicate he played the guitar or banjo.
A music student.
I've made up a dental chart, of course.
Ah, good. Well, we'll get that circulated.
Good. In the meantime, I can tell you that he's been treated by quite a few dentists.
Ah, so he's moved around.
Including abroad. He's got a shell crown. He didn't get that over here. Central European, I'd say. It's a couple of years old by now.
I see.
It's all in my report, anyway.
Yes, well, thanks, Doc. I'll wade through all this later. Look, meanwhile, is there any overall impression you get? Something for us to hold on to?
You are the detectives. It's not my job to speculate.
So let your hair down for once.
Well...
Yes?
There's a sort of fussiness about him, an attention to detail.
How do you mean?
Everything. Clean, neatly filed nails, hair-styled, well-washed.
That's unusual. Most of the kids have things crawling through
You've
it.
been to the hairdressers recently,
Oh, yesterday or the day before, certainly within the lifetime of the shirt he was wearing. It's got a quantity of hair on the back of the collar. It can't be explained any other way.
Good. That might make him a lot easier to find.
This fussiness, you implying he was a homosexual?
I doubt it. Certainly no evidence. You'll have to find out about his sex life for yourself, Sergeant.
Shame, it's usually the key.
Yes, well, if that's all, Superintendent.
Yes, of course. I know where to contact you if there's anything I don't understand in the report.
Good.
Thank you.
Thanks, Doc. Funny job, isn't it? I mean, most people want to be doctors to save lives. He never sees them till they're dead. Still, we'd be in a bad way without him.
He's given us a lot of help. Now, where do we go from here?
The nearest boozer.
Look, if we're going to work together, you're going to have to learn something about me. I don't think there's time for humour on a serious investigation.
Yes, sir. Sorry, sir.
Right. Where now?
Dentists, hairdressers, colleges of education, polytechnics.
Landladies. The principals will have lists of where the students board at. That sounds like a lot of legwork, doesn't it?
Yeah, that's the one thing your computer doesn't seem to have mastered
Now,
yet.
don't resent machines, Sergeant. They can take a lot of the slog out of the job if you use them properly.
Maybe.
You don't like them, do you?
My old DI used to say, if you want to catch villains, you've got to have a nose for it. I've not seen a machine's got one yet.
Yes. Well, take your nose down to the canteen, fetch us up a cup of tea. I've got to get ready for this briefing.
Right, sir.
12 o'clock in the parade room. Good afternoon, gentlemen. Now, you've all been given background to this investigation, so I won't go over all that again. I can update you a little, though. I've just been handed a lab report which shows that traces of another blood group besides the deceased's were found on the knife. Now, I don't want to speculate on the significance of this yet, but you'll probably have a few ideas of your own. Now, I don't think anyone here has worked under me before, so if we're going to sort this out quickly, and we'd all like that, then you do best to learn about me and the way I work. You may have heard that I'm a bit of a bastard. Funny how these rumours get about. Well, I am. I like things done my way. More than that, I insist on it. I do not appreciate solo artists. Every piece of information on this job is pooled, whether I get it or the newest constable on the beat. It'll be put on this chart here, in the appropriate column, until we've built up a picture not just of the deceased, but of how he died, and, if it was murder, who killed him, and the place it was done. D.C. Matthews.
Yes, sir.
It'll be your job, under my direction, to keep it up to date. At the moment, it's mainly blank spaces. The rest of you will be starting to put that right today with some old-fashioned legwork. Yes, Sergeant Mann.
Yes, sir.
Now, to details. WPC Hobbs, PCs Jackson and Springett. You'll be working the heath under the direction of Sergeant Barnes.
Sir.
PCs Francis and Thomas and Sergeant Mann will be touring hairdressers. Gillard, Stevens and Makepeace on dentists. DC's Fairbrother and Derwent will be covering colleges and polytechnics. Sangers and Pacey's student digs, all under the direction of Sergeant Vogel.
Sir.
Now, let's just get one thing straight before we start. I'm not sending you out for the exercise and the good of your health. This case is extremely short on facts. Every detail may be important. I want clear, comprehensive reports written up as soon as possible after the interviews, not some hastily scribbled notes from memory 3 days later. Are there any questions? Right. Get on with it, then.
No, I don't think so.
Never seen him before.
When are you not going to do something about vandalism? That's what I want to know.
Well, personally, I'm getting fed up with these students. They're supposed to give you a term's notice, but they seem to come and go just as they please. Their rooms are like pigsties. And as to the carrying on, well, I hope I don't need to spell it out.
Sorry, I'm afraid they all look alike to me. Oh, yes, funny faces.
He looks just like that pop singer. What's his name?
Well, I always like to help you at least.
No?
Sorry.
Yeah, I've done him. Face looks vaguely familiar.
Do you think you could have cut his hair in the last few days?
Yeah. Give us another butcher's of that photo. Of course, you should tell whoever's in charge they got this all wrong.
Eh?
Well, this photo's not much help. It's the back of the hair we get to look at most, not the face.
All right, I'll mention it. Could it have been yesterday you cut it?
Yeah. Yeah, I reckon it was.
Ah, good. Now, what did you talk about?
Eh?
Come on. Hairdressers always talk. Football, politics, the weather. You must have chatted about something.
Oh, I don't know. Just a wash, like the shampoo. Doesn't mean anything. We don't remember it. Just to keep the customer happy.
Try and get a picture in your mind. Now, which chair was he sitting in?
Oh, I don't know.
Well, try.
Yeah. Over by the door.
Ah.
And he didn't talk, not at all. I tried, but he didn't answer, so I gave up. It was a lot like that.
He was preoccupied with something.
I wouldn't know. I'm a hairdresser, not a psychiatrist. Was that any help?
There's dozens more yet.
Yes?
Oh, Detective Sergeant Vogel, Hotham Road Police.
Yes?
Do you think I could come in?
What's it about?
You have a student lodging here, a Mr. David Simon.
No.
Typical. Secretary of that art school said you had. Mind you, she hardly seemed to know what day of the week it was.
Well, this would be the address she's got. You see, he was staying here, but he's gone now.
I see. When did he leave?
Yesterday morning.
You got a forwarding address?
I'm afraid not. He obviously didn't tell the college either.
No, just didn't turn up. This would be a lot easier if I could come in.
Very well.
Thanks.
Would you mind coming into the kitchen? I expect you'd like a cup of tea.
If you're making one. Lucky. Get the sun in here.
Yes. This won't take a minute.
These sketches, Mr. Simon's?
No, they're mine. I dabble a bit. Like you said, the light's good in here.
You don't mind me looking?
They're not very good. I'm not a professional.
At least you can see what they're meant to be. Not like some of these modern ones.
What did you want to see David about?
Well, I don't know if I do yet. You might be able to help me there.
Well, I'll do anything I can, of course.
You knew him well, did you?
What do you mean by that?
No offence, Mrs. Holland. It's just that we have a body we're trying to put a name to. We think he may be a student. Now, the college secretary couldn't help us. We showed her a photo, said it might be, might not. They're all just names on a list to her.
And you think David might be this body?
It's unlikely, of course, but if you knew him well, I want you to be prepared for the possibility. It might be a shock otherwise.
Well, we weren't close. As a matter of fact, he left owing us a month's rent.
Do you usually let your students get that far behind?
I'm not a very good businesswoman, I'm afraid. I don't really take them for the money.
No?
It's company. It keeps me occupied. And I was an art student myself. So I suppose in a way it keeps me in touch.
I see.
Can you show me the photograph now?
Certainly.
Yes. That's him. Would you like a biscuit?
Eh? Yes, thanks.
Chocolate or plain?
Chocolate.
How did he die?
Throat cut. The photo's been touched up. It was pretty nasty. We don't know yet whether it was suicide or not. There'll be an inquest.
Will I be expected to attend?
God, possibly. You'll be informed. How long has David boarded with you?
Must be almost a year now.
What made him leave so suddenly?
What makes young people do anything these days?
I don't know.
We thought it might have something to do with his girlfriend. Perhaps he'd moved in with her.
You don't happen to know her name, I suppose, where she lives?
No, I'm afraid not. I don't encourage students to bring their girlfriends back here. And in fact, it's one of my only rules that they shouldn't.
I see.
Oh, I'm not a prude, you understand. It's just I don't wish to be attacked by some neurotic woman from the provinces who blames me for her daughter's pregnancy.
Very wise. Would you have any objection to me looking round his room?
Oh, not at all, but I doubt it'll be much help. He took everything with him, and my husband started making a playroom for the children in there. We decided not to have another student. They're far more trouble than they're worth. Milk or lemon, Sergeant?
Annie Vickers?
The fuss taking up art? Or is this a raid?
Just like to ask you a few questions, love.
What's it this time? Pot or politics?
David Simon. You know him?
Of course. What's he done?
He's dead.
You mean murdered?
And why should you think that?
Oh, I got 6 O-levels. I'm smart enough to know you'd not be sent round if you'd had a heart attack. David dead, incredible.
We need to know a bit more about him. Who his friends are, what he did in his spare time.
He's a funny bloke, David. Keeps himself to himself, you know.
Girlfriends?
Well, he used to buy presents to someone occasionally. You know, perfume, chocolates, really trad stuff. He sort of implied there was this mysterious lady in the background.
Sounds intriguing.
Maybe it was meant to. He got into a fight over her with one of the other lads once.
Mm-hmm.
Everyone said it was because his girlfriend must be married and he didn't want us to find out about her.
This lad who got into a fight with him, what was his name?
What do you want to know for?
I want to meet David's friends. Helps us to build up a picture.
Look, he won't get into any trouble, will he? I mean, it was just a stupid fight.
No one's going to fit him up. We just want to talk to him, that's all.
Eric Stanley Hills. One conviction, punch up at a student demo.
Might be what we're looking for.
Had a go at one of our lads. Well represented. Got off with a conditional discharge. Makes you spit, doesn't it?
Nothing else?
Good bit of background here from the home beat, man. Posh family, both parents doctors.
Interesting.
Cracking school record. Captain of everything, including boxing.
What do you reckon to him?
We kind of struck that lucky.
Yes, well, let's forget about your famous nose and look at the facts, shall we? 1, the lad had a punch-up with Simon a couple of months back, so they don't like each other. 2, he wasn't at college yesterday, why not? 3, he's got a record of violence.
1 lousy student demo. He's a comfortable middle-class pink. There's nothing political in this.
Record of violence and the medical knowledge needed for the job.
And 4 is all we got.
All right, it's thin at the moment, but it's bricks. You've got to build a case, Sergeant.
Milado's here. Park him in the detention room, shall I?
No, interview.
All right.
Jacko's brought him in.
Oh, good. I think it's best if you talk to him, Sergeant.
I thought you might.
Oh, yeah.
Said anything to you?
Not a lot. None of it friendly.
He doesn't like policemen, do you, Mr. Hills? Stuffed one up once. Get away with anything, can't you? Mummy and Daddy fix it.
What are you on about?
Must have been a choker when David Simon thumped you, you being leader of the pack. That must have spoiled your image. Made you want to get back at him?
What? I don't understand.
You're not kidding me. You were sorry to see him dead.
Look, I think I'd like to go now. I've got a date tonight.
I haven't started my questions yet.
If you intend holding me here, I'd like to contact my solicitor.
What solicitor? What's his number?
Give me the phone book.
We don't seem to have one in here. Just give me his name and number and I will contact him for you.
I don't know it.
Then we'll carry on with the questions.
Look, are you charging me?
What with? When I charge you, sir, I will, of course, inform you. I will also remind you of your rights as per judge's rules.
May I phone my family?
I'm afraid not, Mr. Hills. This is a time of economy. We can't have you using the police station phone for your personal calls.
My dad will know the solicitor's number.
What a pity he isn't here, then. Where were you yesterday afternoon?
College.
No, you weren't. We checked.
I did go in, but I left early.
Why?
I had a migraine.
So where did you take it? You weren't at your digs?
I went for a walk. I thought it might clear my head.
How long did this walk take?
A couple of hours, maybe 3. I didn't notice.
3 hours? You must be fit. Where'd you walk to? Gatwick?
Just around. I told you I was trying to clear my head.
Did you see anyone on this walk who could confirm it?
No.
Not in 3 hours? And after that, I presume, your head had cleared. What did you do then?
I went to the pictures.
On your own?
Yes.
Got the ticket stub?
I'm trying to give them up.
OK, tell me about the fight you had with David Simon.
What fight?
There's more than one, then.
What? No.
Let's take the one everyone knows about first, the one about his girlfriend.
Oh, well, it was nothing serious, just a misunderstanding.
A misunderstanding?
Yes, you see, he never used to have much to do with girls at college. Too shy, maybe. Well, I used to joke with him about it. Just good-natured, you know.
Oh, yeah, you're a real comedian.
And then one day, after we finished classes, I was taking Annie Vickers for a coffee. We decided to cut across the heath, and it started to rain. Hey, there's someone who's not bothered about getting wet.
Eh?
David Simon, over there in the open. Hey, David!
Oh, come on. Let's stay undercover. He obviously doesn't want us to see him.
Oh, don't be so unsociable. I want to know what he's up to.
Meeting his girlfriend?
Or boyfriend.
You don't think he's gay, do you?
Anyone who doesn't try to chat you up, Annie, must be a bit suspect.
Flattery will get you anywhere.
Hello, David. What are you up to?
I just came out for a walk.
We thought you might be meeting someone.
Just a walk.
You're a bit of a dark horse, though, aren't you, David?
Are you going to introduce us when she comes?
I just want to be left alone.
Oh, but we want to meet her.
We're dying of curiosity.
Please go away.
You're not ashamed of her, are you, David?
Perhaps she's got a wooden leg.
Might be a midget.
Oh, no, I think I got it right first time. She is a fella, isn't she, David? A ginger beer. A puff.
Look, I told you to clear off.
Hey, let go of me.
I'm fed up with you and your grubby jokes. Some people's minds can reach a bit higher than the lavatory chain, you know.
It was a joke, David. I didn't
My
mean...
private life is my business. Understand?
Yeah.
Look, calm down, David. You'll hurt him.
Then clear off and leave me alone.
If you just let go of me, I will.
So, what do you reckon?
Oh, he's definitely hiding something. Bleating about a solicitor, of course, but I can handle him.
You got anything concrete, or is it just your famous nose?
He's pretty vague about yesterday afternoon. Had the time and the motive.
And you don't like him?
You were the one who was putting him up as a suspect before, remember?
Yes, I was thinking of facts, not feelings. What's wrong with him, anyway?
He smells of privilege.
Like me.
OK, so I'm prejudiced, but I reckon if you're born with a silver spoon in your mouth, you should be grateful.
Mm-hmm.
There he is, with the sort of chances some kids are crying out for, and he wastes his time prancing about on demos and chatting up the birds.
None of which has anything to do with our case.
I need more time.
We're letting him go.
What?
We can't hold him long without a charge. When his parents find out he's here, I'll have the full weight of the legal profession round my neck. Now, supposing he's involved, if we pat him on the back and let him go, he'll think he's got away with it. That might irritate you, but it's just the stake to hit him with a charge later if we've got the bricks and mortar to build one.
It's your case, sir.
Cat and mouse. That's the way I play it, Sergeant. You'll have to get used to it. Now, I'll go and pack him off home. Meanwhile, there's just time for you to catch the next train to Bedford.
What for?
Simon's dad lives out there. Local police have informed him of the death, and I thought one of us ought to show the flag.
Oh, yeah?
Yes, you'll enjoy yourself. I should think the smell of privilege would be practically overwhelming.
So sorry to have kept you waiting, Sergeant.
That's all right. Your housekeeper said you were very busy. I believe you've spoken to the local police already, sir.
Yes. There was a constable waiting for me when I got back from London.
You were in London yesterday, sir?
I run a publisher's. I don't get into the office as much as I ought to, but well, I've been up there for the last few days.
I see. It must have been a terrible shock to come home to.
It's an awful thing for anyone to die that young.
Yes.
Tragic though my son's death was, I don't really see why a suicide warrants quite so much police attention.
Well, to put it bluntly, sir, we're not yet satisfied that your son's death was suicide. Do you mind if I ask you some questions?
I didn't imagine you'd come down from London to admire the garden.
How long's your son been living away from home?
Nearly 2 years now.
That was before he started art school, then?
Yes.
What made him leave?
I don't consider that relevant.
Mr. Simon, this is not an easy case. I would appreciate your fullest cooperation.
We didn't get on, David and I. It seemed easier for us to live apart. I gave him a very generous allowance. There was no ill feeling.
What caused the friction, then? The usual adolescent revolt or something more?
My wife was killed in a car accident 10 years ago. I was driving at the time. For some reason, David has always held me responsible.
I see.
I doubt it. We still met quite regularly when I was in town, often had lunch together. Never really mentioned it, but I knew it killed the chance of any real feeling between us.
If it turns out that David did commit suicide, you'd say it was partly due to his mother's death?
I'm sure of it.
Even after 10 years?
Not because of her, because of what he had made of her in his mind. I didn't realize then, but there were plenty of signs that this might happen.
Like what?
Well, every time I saw him, he got more introverted, more moody. I don't think he had many friends in London. That gave him too much time to think.
When did you last see your son, Mr. Simon?
Yesterday.
What?
We had lunch together.
Well, why didn't you tell the local copper that?
I didn't consider it any of his business any more than I consider it yours.
So why tell me now?
I'd never lie in answer to a direct question. If I'd been asked before, I would have mentioned it. I don't think I can be expected to volunteer information. My son committed suicide, and no amount of investigation is going to raise him from the dead.
Laura's already told the sergeant all we know.
Yes, a few points have come up since then, Mr. Holland.
Oh, yeah?
Look, do you think you could stop that for a minute?
I want to get this lot finished.
Well, it won't take long. Now, I understand that David left in something of a rush.
Yeah, he owed us a month's rent.
He left nothing behind?
Nothing.
I noticed a guitar in the back of the hall cupboard when I came in behind your tools.
Yeah?
We know that he played one.
That's Laura's.
Well, it seems odd to stuff it in the back of a tool cupboard.
She doesn't use it anymore. She was learning, then she gave it up. She gets these fads sometimes.
Yes, I see. Well, if she was learning, perhaps David helped her. Would seem natural, being in the same house.
Yeah, maybe he did.
Yes, well, we'll ask her when she comes in. Did he get many visitors?
I don't think so. He was a quiet boy. Spent most of his time in his room on his own.
I brought some here.
Thanks.
How often did David give you guitar lessons, Mrs. Holland?
Not often.
Once a week?
Maybe.
Did he charge you for them?
Not really. I did things for him instead. I mean, odd bits of washing, mending, you know.
Yes, I see. Give and take, a friendly arrangement.
That's right.
You knew him quite well, then?
On a superficial level, yes. Sugar?
Oh, no, thank you. Ah, lovely. He didn't discuss things with you?
What things, Edward?
Oh, tough.
Oh, his family, perhaps? You must have discussed something while you were strumming away.
He told me about his mother. That was very sad.
Yes, you must have felt a bit like a substitute mother doing his washing and mending.
Look, we told you it was just a business arrangement.
I tried to make him feel at home, if that's what you mean.
Thank you, Mrs. Holland.
I don't think anyone could have taken the place of his mother. Her memory meant a lot to him.
He told you that?
Not in so many words, no.
You seem to know him well. Sounds more than just a superficial level.
Not really. He just talked about himself sometimes when he was depressed. I suppose there was no one else there to listen.
What about his father? He visited. Why couldn't he talk to him?
He was the last person he talked to. He hated him.
Ah, well, he seemed to be building up a picture of a quiet, lonely boy who finds it hard to communicate with people. How come he can talk to you?
Because I've got more time than most. I'm a good listener.
Aha.
Look down this road when you leave, Superintendent. Rows of houses containing rows of housewives, all reading Barbara Cartland novels and tending their gardens or learning pottery making. I study people. That's how I keep my sanity within these four walls. That's how I got to know David. I could give you potted biographies of a dozen others, but you wouldn't be interested in them, would you?
Because they didn't die in suspicious circumstances.
No. They're only dying inside. That doesn't matter, does it?
What?
Like silent crying. That's tolerable. It's only when you make a noise you become a nuisance.
Oh, I'm afraid that's all a bit deep for me, Mrs. Holland. I'm just a policeman, you know.
You don't mind if I get back to work, do you? Only I think we've told you all we can.
Yes, no, that's perfectly all right. Look, I'll be in touch if there's anything else. I'll, let myself out, shall I?
This Fraser's really getting you down, isn't he?
He's everything I'm not. Smooth, methodical. You should see the office. It's a mass of charts and figures. I feel more like a weatherman than a copper.
Does he get results?
I don't know. He go down well with the selection boards, I can see that.
Well, maybe you should take a few tips then. Yours is coming up again soon.
Look, I told you not to pin any hopes on that. I don't stand a chance.
Why go up for it then?
Let them know I'm still alive.
I don't believe you. It's just a defence mechanism. You're good at your job.
I don't go about it the right way. I'm not a team man. Look at Fraser. He consults everyone, gathers his evidence scientifically, reports every step in triplicate. But he wouldn't know a murderer if he fell over one, not till he'd weighed him and measured his fingernails. He brings it all down to facts and figures. If X equals Y, then Z is the villain. It's a science to him, with logical answers.
Whereas we know it's an art, don't we, Jimmy?
I know I'm out of step, but I can't even pretend to do it his way.
Then don't.
What about that washing machine we could afford on an inspector's pay?
Oh, I lived without it so long, a year or two more will make no difference.
Why do you put up with me?
Have to. I know I'll never change you.
All right. Now, I've asked you here this morning so I can review the progress, and lack of it, on this investigation so far. Now, let's get back to our chart. PC Matthews.
Sir?
We've established the identity of our body, and we now know some of his movements on the day of his death. We know he packed up and left his digs in the morning. We know he went to the hairdresser's and then on to lunch with his father, both, as far as we know, without his suitcase. What happened to it? P.C. Jackson, you were checking the left luggage lockers at the station.
Nothing there, sir.
Aha, so that stays blank. Lunch, according to his father, was uneventful. He noticed nothing unusual about his son's manner. Apparently, the boy didn't even mention having left his digs. However, it must be noted that Mr. Simon was less than helpful to the local police and didn't tell us about the lunch until Sergeant Vogel interviewed him the next day. So an independent witness who was near enough and nosy enough to have overheard any of their conversation at lunch would be a godsend. Sergeant Vogel, you'll cover the Bell Jar restaurant.
Sure.
Now, the main point I want to make this morning is that we mustn't let this get cold on us. Our best chance for results is now, while it's still fresh in people's minds. Someone dumped that body on the heath and someone must have seen it done. Find them. PCs Jackson and Springett will continue their interviews there. And try to look a bit more enthusiastic. After all, we do pay you a boot allowance. Yes. All right. Now, we've made a good start, but there's a long way to go. What happened after lunch? His father assumed that he returned to his digs. Mrs. Holland says he never went back there. So where did he go? To friends? If so, we don't know who they are. And that's the major area still uncharted. The only person we know who really talked to him ever was his landlady. There may be others. We know he bought presents for someone, even fought for their honour. The landlady, girlfriend, boyfriend, if she or he exists, and I'm assuming she does, then someone has seen them together. Even if she's married or he's a homosexual, I don't believe you can carry on an affair totally in isolation from the world. So hawk that photograph round pubs, clubs, restaurants, bars, the usual run, and find her or him for me. Sergeant Mann will be organising details of that.
Sure.
Finally, this is not a spectacular investigation. It won't attract press or public interest. It's expensive in terms of time and manpower. And I'm already under pressure to release many of you to other investigations. Now, I would like to feel that we can make some sort of breakthrough before I have to bow to that pressure. That's all. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
I'm afraid we're closed, sir.
Detective Sergeant Vogel, Hotham Road Police.
Something wrong?
Not really. You know this lad?
Yes, he comes in here sometimes. With an older man. His father, I think.
That's it.
Mr. Simon?
10 out of 10. When were they in last?
Oh, a couple of days ago, maybe?
Tuesday?
Yes, Tuesday.
Who served them?
I did. They were over in the corner there. I do all the tables on that side.
Were you busy?
Not especially, no. Always slow Tuesdays.
I wondered if you might have overheard some of what they were saying. Well, nothing wrong in that. I mean, I often listen to other people's conversations. A couple of girls behind me on the bus this morning. What they said made your hair curl.
I couldn't tell you exact words.
Anything would help.
I think they were having a row.
Yeah?
I'm a father myself. 2 teenage boys. I don't look old enough, eh?
No.
It's not the easy thing bringing up kids. But if there's trust between you, well, I tell mine to do something and I know I've got good reason.
About Mr. Simon?
That's what I'm telling you. He didn't know how to handle the boy, see?
Oh, yeah?
Like I said, there was a row. About a woman, aren't they all? I didn't hear much of what they said, but the boy shouted, "It's my life and it's none of your business." What? That made me look up.
Yeah, it would.
Then the father said, "It's my money, though, so you can forget the whole idea or forget your allowance." Something like that. Of course. That was the worst thing he could have said to him.
Eh?
You don't threaten a boy at that age, especially not with money. They've got too much pride. Besides, they still think poverty is romantic.
So what happened next?
Oh, the boy got up and walked straight out. Didn't even bother with his trifle. The father shoved some money in my hand and races out after him. Another mistake.
Why?
A father should have dignity. How can he have dignity running down the street after a boy half his age?
You've been very helpful.
Any time. What happened to them?
The boy's dead.
Oh. It's a rotten job being a father.
Yeah. See ya.
I just want to be allowed to forget about David. Don't you understand that?
I don't mean to be insensitive, sir, but I'm leading an investigation into a serious crime. Now, if you'd been frank with us in the first place, I wouldn't need to be bothering you again now.
It was just a row between father and son. Nothing to do with your case.
I'll be the judge of that. Who was the woman you were arguing about in the restaurant?
I don't know.
You were shouting about a total stranger, then?
It was the first time I'd heard anything about her. I thought it was just going to be our usual lunch in the bell jar.
I just don't know why we come here. Look at that wallpaper. Terrible mock shishu rubbish.
We can't all have your exquisite taste.
A child of 3 could see those colours don't match.
Oh, for God's sake, let's not argue. We see each other so seldom. Surely we can be civil for a couple of hours.
Provided we stick to safe subjects, yes.
How's work? Haven't told me anything about it. What are you doing at college?
That's not a safe subject.
Surely I'm allowed to take an interest in my son's progress. It's important, after all. You've got exams coming up.
Maybe.
What?
Nothing.
Come on, I want to know what you meant by that.
Just that I might not be taking them.
My God!
Oh, I knew you'd hit the roof.
Your education's cost a lot of money. I'm not going to stand by and watch you chuck it all away.
Does it really matter? I won't stop breathing because I don't take an exam. I'll still have a future. It'll just be a different one, that's all.
What will you do? Sweep roads, empty dustbins?
Oh, I doubt I'll manage anything
It's
serious.
not a joking matter, David.
Pity. It's what our relationship needs. A few more jokes.
Look, I think I'm entitled to know your reasons. You owe me that much.
Why? Because you're my father.
Yes, and to put it bluntly, because I've invested a great deal of money in your education. I have a right to know why I won't see a profit.
Oh, hoping I'd keep you in your old age.
I meant your profit. The pleasure I'd get by seeing you make something of your life. That would be enough for me.
Oh, God. Even you can't expect me to take that
it's
seriously.
True. I've always wanted the best for you.
Well, that's why I'm going, really. Because I want the best too.
I don't understand.
It's hard to know how to explain it to you. I can't produce a balance sheet, profit and loss.
Can't you stop the snide remarks for 5 minutes?
I'm in love. Having an affair, whatever you want to call it. We want to be together, but circumstances make that difficult.
You mean she's married?
Oh, you've got that disapproving look on your face. I've seen that look ever since I was in nappies.
I just think you're a bloody fool.
Thanks.
I suppose her husband's found out.
You've got a way of making everything sound sordid.
You'll have to give it up.
We're going away together.
I forbid you to go anywhere.
Don't make me laugh.
If your mother were alive.
Look, it's my life and it's none of your business.
One treats Melbourne and one tries.
Ah, thank you. It may be your life, but it's my money, so you can forget the whole idea or forget your allowance.
Stuff your allowance!
David!
Your bill,
Yeah, that'll cover it. Oh. Take that. David!
You were pretty angry.
I think I had every right to be.
What happened when you caught up with him?
I didn't. I hurried down the high street, but he got on a bus before I could catch him.
What number?
93, I think.
Back to the station?
No, the other way.
I see. Any idea of where he might have been heading?
To the lady, I imagine.
When you were interviewed before, you said you were sure your son committed suicide, but from what you told me, he was in anything but a suicidal frame of mind when you last saw him.
He was in a highly emotional state.
But determined, not despairing.
Well, it's obvious what happened. She changed her mind. You know what these little suburban housewives are like. All she'd have been interested in was the sex. Of course, David believed it was much more than that. It would have been a terrible blow to him.
Oh, maybe.
I admit we didn't get on, but I knew David better than anyone. He was an innocent, a romantic. People thought I bullied him. Maybe I did, but it was for him. His own good.
How do you mean?
Someone had to get his feet on the ground. It may sound cynical, Superintendent, but you can't go through life thinking the best of people and looking for pots of gold at the end of the rainbow. Life isn't like that.
Well, it's all water under the bridge now, sir.
Yes. If you find this woman, Superintendent, I'd like to meet her.
Yes, I don't think that'd be a very good idea, sir. Not for either of you.
No? Perhaps you're right. Better to forget.
Have you got the housekeeper's statement?
Yes, I'm afraid it's not finished yet. Just got a bit more to type.
Does it agree with his version?
More or less. She reckons he was home about 8. If you don't mind me asking...
Yeah?
What's all that lot in the box for? It isn't Lifeboat Day, is it?
They're for the map. Each colour represents a different person, or the same person at a different time of day. Helps me to get a clearer overall picture.
Really?
Yes, it'd do you good to get a bit of method into your work, Jimmy. I don't know how you can find anything in this pigsty. You making any progress?
We also serve who only wear out boots.
Well, don't keep it to yourself, then.
Well, apart from our body, it was a pretty average day for crime, Tuesday. Handbag snatch, couple of indecent exposures and a TDA.
Exciting stuff.
It's the taking and driving away that might interest us. Mercedes. Good-sized boot on a Merc.
Also favourite for joyrides.
Dumped less than a quarter of a mile from where it was nicked and about as close to the body.
What's the connection?
An old dear reckons she saw him leaving it. Looked like students, she said. Boy and a girl.
David and his girlfriend.
No way the description could fit, but it could have been Hills. Jacko's gone to fetch him.
That would explain why he gave us all that toffee about clearing his head and going to the pictures.
I told you he was up to something, sir.
Well, we'll see what forensics have got to say about that Mercedes.
I've already fixed that, sir.
Yeah. Off your own bat.
Surely teamwork shouldn't stop me using my initiative.
You're supposed to check with me before tying up expensive personnel or equipment. Forensics are overworked as much as we are.
But you just said that
yes. Well, this time you were right. Next time, check.
Sir.
In the meanwhile, take that initiative of yours down to Putney Garage.
Hey?
Try and find the conductor of the 93 bus Simon took after lunch. He got on in the High Street. Where did he get off?
Sir.
I'll see to Mr. Hills when they bring him in.
Are we charging Hill, sir?
Only for the TDA. Fingerprints match. Nothing to do with our body, though. Just a bit more paperwork.
Yeah. Oh, Chief Superintendent Morgan's been on again, sir. Asked if you'd ring him back.
Yes, I know what he wants. More men.
Yes, he's after that bloke who's been interfering with the kiddies, isn't he, sir?
Yes, I believe.
Yes, well, a lot of the lads are family men, sir. They want to see him nailed.
Yes?
Yes. Well, just if you're not making much progress, you might be able to release a few more to him.
I'll make that decision when I'm good and ready, Sergeant. Now, how was the bus station, Jimmy?
Not a lot of laughs.
Conductor didn't remember him then.
They had a party last night. One of their wives had triplets. All they seem to remember is wetting the babies' heads, and that's pretty hazy.
Well, let's go to the office.
Scaling down, are we?
Now, don't you start.
I wasn't. I just heard a few rumours.
I know that catching that flash is important, but so's this, and we're still getting useful stuff in. Look, Springett found a kid on the Heath spotting car numbers. His mum says he was there Tuesday. Notebook full of registrations.
Don't suppose he put the times by them, did he?
Yeah, OK. So it's not much, but it tells us who was around.
More flags on the map, eh? Anyone we know?
Hill's Mercedes.
Oh, so it was him who nicked it.
Oh, just a red herring. We've dealt with that already. Couple of petty villains, we're checking them out now. Mr. Simon's Lagonda.
On his way back to Bedford?
Yeah, and Holland on his way back from work, I suppose.
It's a start.
So, let's look at what we've got.
Sore feet.
I think we can rule Hills out now. When he wasn't impressing his girlfriend by nicking the thing, he was probably screwing her on the back seat. How about Dad?
It'll be a tight schedule. Kill him, dump him, still get back to Bedford in time for the housekeeper to alibi him.
But he's clever enough to know that it's in his favour, and it'd answer one dodgy question.
Yeah?
Why dump the body in daylight when it has to be safer at night? Simon would have to, or he'd be back late enough to cause suspicion. Oh, God. Razor.
Message from PC Springett, sir.
Well, if it's not good news, don't bother.
Well, he doesn't know if it's relevant, sir, but Holland's car number is written in twice. There's about 60 numbers in between.
You sure it was on the same day?
Oh, yeah. The kid's very meticulous. Always starts a clean sheet every afternoon.
Great. Get him to buy the boy some chocolate when he gives back the book. I'll pay.
Righto, sir. One bit of bad news as well.
Yes?
Message to ring the ACC.
Thanks, Sergeant. Well, Jimmy, sounds like I'm going to be leaned on from on high.
You could have said no.
You don't ignore a friendly word from the ACC, not if you want to keep getting promotion.
It wasn't an order, though.
Well, pep talk on cooperation's as good as an order, Jimmy. The result's the same. We've lost half the men we had on this investigation, and it's as simple as that.
Yeah.
Still, it's one way to solve it. The rest of us will have to work twice as hard.
Yeah, you can't park there. Not without a permit.
Oh, yes, we can.
Oh, Jax.
Yes, we'd like to ask you some questions.
You on duty Tuesday?
I'm on duty every day, Squire.
Mr. Holland.
What about him?
What time did he leave Tuesday?
Usual time, 5-ish.
Is it possible He could have left during the afternoon and then come back again.
Well, I'd have seen him, wouldn't I?
You're here all the time?
Yeah.
How about lunch?
Well, I've not gone long. Sandwich and a drink over the road, half hour at most.
Who's in charge of the car park, then?
I leave the gate up and people know where to find me if there's an emergency.
So there's no one here?
But that's the only time you're away.
Yeah, well, apart from the usual, that's all.
Hey?
Well, I have to go to the lavatory, don't I? Everyone does.
And where's that?
Main building.
Oh, that's another 10 minutes more if you stop for a smoke. How many times you go Tuesday afternoon?
I don't keep records of it.
If he had a few beers lunchtime, there'd be time to drive a Centurion tank in and out without him noticing.
All right, I don't know if he went out, but there's something I can tell you. He had a visitor.
Who?
Young lad. Never seen him before.
Have a look at this photo.
Yeah, that's him.
93 stops just down the road, too.
Eh? Well, he came to the hut about 2. Asked for Mr. Holland. I sent him up there.
Did you see him leave?
No, but I went to lunch at 2:30, you see. What's all this about?
Oh, just routine.
Where's Mr. Holland now?
Room 213, main building. Take the lift to the 2nd floor, and it's the first door on your left when you get out.
Sure.
Here, do you want me to give him a ring? Tell him you're on your way?
No, thanks. We'll let it come as a lovely surprise, eh?
That blue Zodiac's Holland's car, isn't it?
Yes, why?
Well, I thought I ought to do a bit of crime prevention. Checked he'd locked it up properly.
You don't think he'd have been cheeky enough to stuff a body in there in an open car park, do you?
I doubt it. Mind you, that attendant wouldn't have noticed anything.
Jimmy.
Sir?
Careful, eh?
Height of discretion, sir.
Come in.
Mr. Holland. What was David Simon doing here on Tuesday afternoon?
He came about the rent he owed.
Oh, yes?
I told you he was 4 weeks behind.
You never mentioned him coming here before, now.
No.
It makes you the last person we know who saw him alive. You must have realised that'd be important.
I didn't want to get involved.
Well, you're involved now, Mr. Holland, right up to your eyeballs. Obstructing the police in the course of their investigations is an offence, so your card's marked already, and you're still at it.
Eh?
The rent story's a phony. If he'd really come about that, you'd have told me before. You lied because you're hiding something.
He was blackmailing me.
What?
I gave him £10 on Tuesday. It wasn't the first time.
Well, he didn't have a penny on him when he found the body.
Oh, I wouldn't know about that.
All right, suppose I buy it. What was he blackmailing you about?
If I tell you that, I'm in trouble.
If you don't, it could be worse. Depends how much you've got to hide.
I suppose it'll probably all come out now anyway.
Then you do best to tell me. Cooperation helps.
You probably noticed that Laura comes from a different sort of background to me. When her father died, he left her a bit of money. The house, the car, practically everything belongs to her.
Yes, I did wonder how you kept it all going on your money.
Well, the idea of being a kept man doesn't appeal to me, Superintendent. I've always done my best to make up for it. I do all the overtime I can and all the odd jobs round the house. I built the garage myself. But there doesn't seem to be anything that I can do that she can't pay for just as easily.
Now, what's all this got to do with Simon?
I did a stupid thing. I wanted to buy her something special for her birthday. Really special. A coat. Lovely it was, but I couldn't afford it, see? No way.
Go on.
I tried to get a loan, but I couldn't raise enough.
So you nicked something?
Cameras. From the factory. Not a lot, they'd have noticed that. Just one at a time. I was very careful. No one's even missed them yet.
Where'd you sell them?
A bloke in delivery did it for me. The trouble was, I got to thinking he was making more out of it than I was.
Greed. That's what always blows it.
I just wanted enough for the coat. Offered one to David. It was a mistake.
He put the black on you?
Threatened to tell the firm.
But why should he move out? Surely he was best off in your house, where he could keep an eye on you.
No, he was too shrewd for that. I sometimes took them home, you see. He didn't want to be that close to stolen property. Look, I was the one taking all the risk. He just took most of the profit.
That why you killed him?
Oh, I didn't kill him.
No. You won't mind us going over your car, then. Doesn't really matter if you do. I reckon we've got enough for our warrant now.
Sergeant Vogel.
Mind if I come in?
Certainly.
Superintendent Fraser asked me to call. He didn't want you to worry about your husband.
Why should I be worried?
He'll be a bit late back. He's helping us down the station. Do you mind if I smoke?
I'll get you an ashtray.
Oh, doesn't matter. Been a bit warmer today, isn't it?
What do you mean, helping us?
Hey?
Helping us with our inquiries. Isn't that what policemen say before they charge someone?
Sometimes it just means helping.
What about this time?
He'll probably be in a bit of trouble about some cameras.
What cameras?
The ones he nicked from work.
I don't believe you.
He's admitted it. We've checked at the factory. There's 3 dozen missing.
Why should Edward steal anything? It doesn't make sense. Look around you, Sergeant. We're not exactly in the bread line.
That's got nothing to do with it. I've worked this patch a couple of years now. It may be full of respectable middle-class families, pillars of society, but scratch the surface and they're as cruel, avaricious and downright dishonest as anyone else.
You don't like us very much, do you?
The Mortlake Mafia, we call you.
You shouldn't judge by appearances. Because we live in faceless suburban streets doesn't mean we've all got souls to match.
I don't know much about souls, madam. I've got this arrangement with the vicar. I'll let him handle the souls and he leaves the villains to me.
Should I come down to the station? I imagine Edward could do with a bit of moral support.
Well, it's up to you, madam. Could mean a lot of hanging around.
It's fairly straightforward, surely. If he's admitted it, all you need is someone to bail him out.
Maybe. There's another matter to deal with first.
Yes?
Did you realise your husband was being blackmailed?
What?
Nothing spectacular, just a few quid at a time. Mind you, I suppose that's a lot of money to a student.
You mean David?
Who else?
Edward told you that?
Are you saying you didn't know?
Of course not. Don't you believe me?
I don't know if I believe him. That's the trouble with this case. I don't even know the rules yet.
Rules?
Well, it's all a game, isn't it, to someone?
I'm sorry, I don't understand what you're talking about. It's rather hard to take all this in at once without having to cope with riddles.
Yes, of course, madam. It must have been a shock. Would you like me to get someone to sit with you? Neighbour, perhaps. Just till you've calmed down.
No. I've got to face up to it sometime. I'll arrange a babysitter for the children, then I'll come down to the station with you. Edward needs me there.
Right, Mr. Holland, I've read your statement. It seems to correspond fairly closely with what you told me this afternoon. Normally, I'd just ask you to sign it, and it'd be used as evidence, but before you do that, I think I should tell you that I've had the forensic report on your car. It's pretty damaging. There are blood and fibre traces in the boot that prove quite conclusively that David Simon's body was stowed in there. There's even a bit of his hair. We'll also be making forensic examination of your house and office. Now, I want to be fair to you. In the light of this evidence, do you still maintain that this statement is a true and honest recollection of the events of Tuesday afternoon?
No.
Do you wish to sign it or have it used as evidence?
No.
Start again, then. Oh, well.
God, what a mess.
Did you kill David Simon? Well?
Yes.
Why?
I told you, he was blackmailing me.
You did it to get him off your back?
It started out just a few quid, like I told you.
Hang on a minute. You're getting this down, aren't you, Jackson?
Yes, sir.
Yes. I'm so sorry. Do carry on, Mr. Holland. Ah, what do you think?
Toffee. Pure Everton toffee.
Yes, there are a few things that don't add up, I know. But he was confused by then. He told me so many different stories, he probably didn't know what was true himself.
You're never going into court with it, not even on a guilty plea. If he changed his mind, we'd be left with egg all over our faces.
There's the car boot. No arguing with that.
OK. he was involved, but it didn't happen like that. No one keeps a carving knife in the bedroom on the off chance of committing a murder one day.
So he took it upstairs with him. It was premeditated.
And the victim just stood there and let him cut his throat. There was no sign of a struggle, remember?
Well, there needn't be one deep cut. If he caught him by surprise, that'd be it.
Hell of a lucky shot. Good enough to convince the pathologist it was self-inflicted. You don't really believe it, or you'd have charged him.
All right, Sherlock bloody Holmes. What's your theory? What does your famous nose tell you?
Let's start with his mystery woman. Has to be Mrs. Holland, isn't it? It's
Probably.
obvious. She'd never let him have another bird in the house. We can't find anyone who saw him out with one, so it's her or she doesn't exist.
Well, we can't be that certain. After all, she's old enough to be his mother.
Good point. We know he was obsessed with his mother, so he turns to her as a substitute.
Well, even if it's true, it just makes a better motive for Holland to bump the boy off. Not only is he blackmailing, he's screwing his wife too.
It still doesn't fit.
Oh, what's wrong now?
He's not a blackmailer. He was quiet, shy, bookish, child almost. Now all of a sudden he's Jack the Lad.
Well, he beat up Eric Hills. That seemed out of character too.
Yeah, I thought so too at first, but it wasn't. It was chivalry, like an old-fashioned knight in armour fighting for his lady's honour.
What? That's a bit fanciful, isn't it?
So was he. That's what his father didn't like about him. Now, there's someone who'd make a blackmailer, but not David. He wasn't interested enough in money.
You really think you know him, don't you, Sergeant?
Yes, sir. I understand people. It's computers that leave me baffled.
OK, Jimmy. I'll back your nose.
Eh?
I'll give you a couple of hours with both of them and see what you come up with.
Now?
No. Go home, get some sleep. Try it fresh in the morning.
Thank you, sir.
We've got the cameras as a holding charge, and you can take it from there.
Sir.
You'd better not let me down, though, when I've got a confession all signed and sealed. Eh? Good night.
Oh, I wish you wouldn't smoke in here. The smell hangs in the curtains for days.
Sorry.
Look, I don't know what you're worrying about. It shows Fraser trusts you.
Maybe.
Well, perhaps he's not such a bad bloke after all.
Doesn't cost him anything. If I make a mistake, it's my fault. If I don't, he gets the credit.
And it's not worth losing sleep over. Especially as you've got a big day tomorrow. Come to bed.
What do you mean, big day?
But it's your selection board in the afternoon.
Bloody hell, I'd forgotten about that.
Oh. Well, I had your suit cleaned.
Thanks.
And I've laid out a clean shirt and tie. You'll look every inch the go-getting young inspector. Pity about the bags under your eyes.
Occupational hazard.
I really can't stay awake much longer.
I'll put the light out.
Oh, Tar. Night, Jimmy.
Mo?
What?
Can I ask you something?
How about?
Clothes.
Can't wait till the morning.
No, it's important.
Go on, then.
If you had money and taste as well as good looks...
Oh, look, I'm too tired for jokes.
What would go with a worsted suit in houndstooth check?
Are you buying me a present, Jimmy? Because for that sort of money, there's plenty of things I'd prefer to a wool suit.
No, it's not for you.
Well, who are you buying it for?
I'm not buying it for anything. It's just a question. Now, what accessories would go with houndstooth worsted?
Well, black court shoes, matching handbag and gloves, maybe a hat to round it off.
How about a chiffon scarf, pink with blue dots?
Hardly.
Sure?
Well, practically anything goes in fashion these days, but it's not what you'd call tasteful.
That's what I hoped you'd say, because she certainly got taste. Thanks, Mo.
Any time.
I'll come to bed now.
Hello, Laura.
Ted. I got here as soon as I could. I packed the children off to my mother.
Oh, yeah.
I knew something was wrong and I didn't want to have to go on lying to them.
Probably for the best.
Have you eaten any breakfast?
Oh, yeah. I asked, but they didn't have any porridge.
I've found a solicitor who'll handle the legal side for us. Is there anything else I can do?
Bit of praying, maybe.
Look, do you think you could leave us alone for a minute, Sergeant?
Sorry.
You must realise that we've got a lot of personal things to discuss.
Your concern would be a bit more touching if I didn't know you were letting your husband get done for a murder he didn't commit.
What?
Would you mind taking off that scarf, Mrs. Holland?
What an extraordinary request.
So humour me. Thank you. Could you tell me how you got those scars on your neck?
It was him. He did it.
That what she told you?
I'm glad it's come out, really. I made up the blackmail story to protect Laura. I thought you'd never believe it was self-defence after we dumped the body like that.
So try me.
Laura and David were having an affair. I knew nothing about it until he came to see me that day. He'd been trying to persuade Laura to go away with him for ages, but she's always refused because of the children.
And you.
Yeah, well, anyway, when he found out about the cameras, he thought it'd make her despise me enough to make the final break. Well, that's what he came to tell me. It seemed pretty hopeless, but I decided to follow him back to the house and try and persuade her to stay. I managed to slip out without anyone noticing, but by the time I got there, it was too late. He was lying dead on the floor, and Laura's throat was cut. God almighty!
I'm all right. I'll be all right.
What happened?
I'm staying with you. I told him I wouldn't go. He just went mad.
Oh, he's dead.
It wasn't my fault. I don't want the police and everyone here. I couldn't take it up.
It'll be all right. It was self-defence, we'll tell him.
No. Help me, Ted. We've not got much time.
What do you want me to do?
The children will be home in a moment. They mustn't see
I've got to get you to a doctor first.
No, I've told you I'll be all right. Get the sheet off the bed.
Look, you'll probably need stitches in that cut.
Don't be stupid. A doctor will have to ask questions. Do as I tell you.
But you're losing blood.
Wrap that thing in a sheet.
We'd never get away with that, Laura.
You must.
Well, tell him I did it. Well, after all, it was my fault, really. If you hadn't been loyal to me, if you had gone away with him, it wouldn't happen.
We won't tell anyone anything, don't you understand? We don't have to. Once that thing is out of the house, it's all over.
But
he moved out. We don't know where he went. You've got that.
But they'll find out.
The knife in his hand. Wipe the handle first. That's it. Now, clear his pockets. They might not even trace him back to us then.
Yeah, I suppose it's worth a try.
We can do it, Ted. We don't panic if we just stay calm.
I put the body into the boot of the car. I think I was planning to leave it there till dark. But when I was driving past the heath, I saw a van being stopped by a policeman. It was stupid looking back on it. It must have been for speeding or dangerous driving. Or maybe the driver was just asking the way. But somehow at the time I was sure the police were stopping everyone. I turned onto the track that runs across the heath to avoid him. I swear I could hear the body bumping about in the boot behind me. I felt I was trailing blood everywhere I went. I stopped the car, but there was nothing that could give me away. I stood there sweating. It was like a nightmare. Me, Ted Holland, the most ordinary bloke you could meet, stuck with a dead body in my car. I opened the boot and chucked him behind some bushes.
In broad daylight?
I panicked. I'm not your professional criminal, Mr. Vogel. Like I said, I'm just an ordinary bloke.
You nearly got away with it, too. All right, take him down, Jackson.
Okay, Sarge?
I'm sorry for all the trouble I've caused.
Yeah, so am I.
I'll see you later, Laura.
I hope so.
Terrible thing, all those Hollywood films.
What?
They've raised false hopes in so many people, especially our generation, don't you think?
Do you know what you're talking about, Sergeant?
Glamour, romance, tinsel, Stuff dreams are made of, you know.
No, I'm afraid I don't.
I suppose it's getting hard to know what's dream and what's real. Ted wouldn't understand. Like he said, he's just an ordinary bloke. He couldn't see you've always been waiting for the hero to come riding up on his white charger and take you off into the sunset. Trouble is, it's meant to be a fantasy, isn't it? It's very inconvenient when he turns up and really wants you to go.
I think this is in rather bad taste.
Not as bad as the Blackmail story. That wasn't Hollywood, that was old British B-movie. What is it about the truth that frightens you so much, Mrs. Holland? Poor old Teddy still doesn't know.
I didn't mean to lie to him. He just assumed that was what happened.
And you went along with it because it was convenient to you.
No. I realized that with David dead, I'd be spending the rest of my life with Edward. How could I do that if he knew that a couple of hours earlier I'd rather have died than stay?
I don't believe that you ever intended to kill yourself.
I'd changed my mind so many times before. But this time I'd been determined to go. I'd even written a note to Ted explaining my reasons.
Then why didn't you go?
Oh, those wretched cameras. David told me, thinking there'd be one more reason to leave, but it made Ted seem so pathetic. It was such a hopeless gesture. He was bound to be found out. I suddenly realized how much he needed me.
But David had already told him you were leaving.
When I broke the news to him, he just went mad.
It's all a game to you, just a bloody game. No. First you'll leave and then you won't. On and on. Don't you understand what it's doing to me?
Oh, it hurts me just as much.
No. You can't love me like I love you, because I know I can't live without you.
I feel the same, Dave.
But don't you understand? I can't stay here now I've had it out with Ted. If you don't come with me, that's it. Finished.
If I stay here, I've lost you. But if I go, I still won't be happy. I'll always be thinking about Ted and the children, knowing how much I've hurt them. My life is over.
Then there's only one answer.
I can't see one.
I can't live with you. I can't live without you. If you feel the same, it's obvious.
What are you talking about?
Do you love me enough to die for me?
What?
Because I love you that much.
Looking back, doesn't seem like me and him. It's like two different people. No, not people. Puppets. Puppets. Going through some ghastly, predetermined dance. We went down to the kitchen. He took the knife from the drawer. He was calm now. Very calm as we went upstairs, knowing we were going to die. He gave me the knife first. I tried, but... Oh, God. Oh, God.
It has to be deeper, Laura.
Oh, no, I can't. I just can't.
Give me the knife. I'll go first. If there is anything after death, I'll see you there. Don't keep me waiting.
Knife from his hand. The
Deep down, I knew I was too much of a coward. I seemed to be staring at it for hours when Ted came in. Seeing the knife, he thought I'd killed him. You know the rest.
Laura Holland, I arrest you for the murder of David Simon. Do you wish to say anything? You're not obliged to say anything unless you want. But anything you do say will be put into writing and used in evidence.
But I told you what happened. It was suicide.
A normal person doesn't stand by and watch someone commit suicide. And to encourage a man to kill himself, even hand him the weapon, can be homicide. And has been held to be so in court. All you wanted was a bit on the side. Simon's death was the most convenient thing that could have happened to you when he got too serious. That's why you didn't try to stop him. And that's why you let him believe you were going to do the same. And that's why you disposed of the body so carefully. You knew you were guilty. And you didn't want us to find out.
I've got nothing more to say to you, Sergeant.
No, you wouldn't. Question is whether you can swing a jury as easy as you twisted your husband.
Hello, Jimmy. Airing the best suit again, I see.
Yes, sir.
Oh, sure a fag.
Oh, Tom.
God, they totted up the amount of time a policeman wasted in courtroom corridors, there'd be a public outcry.
What's the delay now?
A bit of unofficial dealing in the air.
Oh, yeah?
Offer is we dropped to manslaughter for a guilty plea.
I still say it's murder.
Morally, yes, but we'll never make it stick. In fact, I doubt the defence will even buy manslaughter. They reckon they'll get her off.
You think that?
Yeah. Oh, don't take it to heart, Jimmy. Win a few, lose a few. That's my motto. Oh, by the way, how did the selection board go?
Lose a few?
Oh, well. Better luck next time, eh? See you in there.
Yeah.
In Body on the Heath by Bill Lyons, Detective Sergeant Vogel was played by Douglas Livingston, Detective Superintendent Fraser by Nigel Hawthorne, and Laura Holland by Colette O'Neill. Edward Holland, David Graham, David Simon, Stephen Pacey, Mr. Simon and the Pathologist, Bruce Purchase. Maureen Vogel, Diana Bishop, Annie Vickers, Valerie Murray, Eric Hills, Christopher Bidmead, P.C. Jackson, Michael Harbour, and the Sergeant, Walter Hall. Alan Dudley played the waiter, the hairdresser, and the car park attendant. Other parts were played by Michael Tudor Barnes and Irene Sutcliffe. The play was produced and directed by Jane Morgan.
Bad Memories, written and directed by Julian Simpson.
How come no one's done this place up?
Shh. There might be people here.
What, like Satanists or something?
No. Like tramps and whatever.
Oh, scary tramps.
Just keep your voice down.
Look over here.
What?
Must have been a fire or something.
So don't go through there. It's probably not safe.
There's nothing left of it. What can happen?
Fine, do whatever. I want to look upstairs.
Well, that is stupid. That could be structurally dodgy. Seriously, there's been a fire. You don't know what supports what, or what might...
Tom? Are you... Tom? Are you all right? I think so. Can you move? Can you move?
Yeah. I can move. But there's nothing to climb on. Can you get me a...
Oh, you're gonna be sick. What? Get me out of here. Call the police. What's there? Get me out of here. There's bones here. A load of dead people.
Yeah?
Rachel Weir?
Hi.
Detective Inspector Jim Marquez, Christchurch Police.
How can I...
They told you I was coming?
No? Well, there may have been, and I don't check my email very often.
Okay. Well, I'm sorry if you're about to call it a day, but Monroe said I should come and see you.
Charlie Monroe?
Yeah, he said you helped him out rebuilding some corrupted audio and a surveillance...
No, I'm not supposed to talk about that.
No, of course not, no, but Monroe said that you're an audio whiz, is the point. He said you might be able to help me.
Well, okay, then.
Good. So, do you remember the Blake family?
Blake?
6 years ago, the whole family disappeared from their house in the New Forest.
The architect?
That's right, Jonathan Blake. Him and his wife and their little boy just vanished into thin air.
I read about that. It was weird.
Yeah.
And no one ever...
Well, there's no trace of them at all. The house stood empty because it still technically belonged to the Blake family. Now, a year or so ago, some squatters broke in and started a fire, accidentally by all accounts, which destroyed part of the structure. Then 10 days ago, a couple of local kids were exploring the place when one of them fell through a floor that had been weakened by the fire into some kind of a cellar that wasn't actually part of the Blake house, but predated it by about 200 years.
Well, there'd been a building on the site before.
Yeah, and there were bodies in that cellar.
The Blakes?
Yeah, actually 5 bodies. Jonathan and Imogen Blake and their little boy Matthew, along with another unidentified female and a man we've identified as Philip Gibson, who'd been on the missing persons register since around the same time as the Blakes disappeared.
Okay. But if the cellar wasn't part of the Blake house, how do they...
Well, we don't know. But that's not the biggest mystery.
Oh?
The bodies were just skeletons. DNA tests confirmed the identities, all but the 5th one, the woman. But forensics tested the bacterial build-up and whatever else was to try to determine time of death.
And?
It's 1926.
I'm sorry.
All 5 died in around about 1926.
Well, that's not...
No, it's not. But they've triple-checked it. And it is.
Is this a wind-up, Jim? No. I didn't think Monroe had much of a sense of humour, but...
This is not a wind-up.
You found the bodies of 5 people who disappeared in what, 2004?
November 2004, yeah.
And you think they somehow, went back in time and died in 1926?
Well, actually, they were murdered. There are chips on the bone of all 5 bodies, consistent with them having been stabbed repeatedly. Possibly with a large pair of scissors.
Can I see some ID, Jim?
This is legit. I'm not saying I believe it. I'm just telling you what my lab is telling me.
Your lab's made a mistake.
Well, I'm certainly not ruling that out.
So what can I...
Well, there was a digital voice recorder found with the bodies. And we tracked the serial number back, and it belonged to this Phil Gibson guy.
And you think that somehow whatever's on this voice recorder is going to clear this whole thing up?
Well, I just want to know what's on it. No one in my office can get it to play.
Show me. I'm going to need to handle it.
No, you can take it out of the bag. Our boys are done with it.
It was pretty dirty.
Well, it's been buried in a cellar.
Oh, of course. For 100 years.
Actually, according to forensic, that's how all the bottom layers of dirt are, yeah.
I think those guys are having a big laugh at your expense, Jim.
How long before I can hear something?
Hard to say. A couple of hours should yield some results either way.
OK, well, I'll go and I'll come back then. Is there anything you need?
There is. A grande latte with an extra shot from the place on the corner if you're back before they close.
a dirt track through a forest. Certainly remote. Most of the locals didn't even seem to know there was a house out here.
Do you want sugar?
The history of the site itself.
Did you bring some?
Yeah, I grabbed a handful of sachets.
Then yes.
Oh, you got something?
A lot of the recordings are corrupted beyond repair, but I'm salvaging what I can. This is the first one I've listened to. You want me to go back to the top?
Yeah.
Ready?
Go for it.
2:03 p.m., 3rd of November, 2004. The Blake House. Finally. 2 miles from the nearest road, along a dirt track through a forest. Certainly remote. Most of the locals didn't even seem to know there was a house out here, much less the history of the site itself.
I'm not sure I'm aware of the history myself.
Excuse me?
I'm Jonathan Blake. You must be
Oh, yes.
Phil Gibson.
Sorry, yes, that's right.
You found it okay? Well, obviously you found it. You're here.
Well, it's good to finally meet you, Mr. Blake.
Jonathan, please. You were saying about the history?
There was a house on this site before, burned down.
Is that right?
I like to do a little background reading before I...
Yeah, excellent. Yes, yes. Talking of which, I'm afraid I wasn't able to track down any of your previous pieces on the paper's website.
Yes, they are a little slow at getting everything online. Local papers, understaffed.
Well, no, I didn't mean that to
That's
sound,
okay.
Another house, you say?
That's right.
Can I get online in here?
The machine's over there.
Keep playing it.
And I suppose the family didn't have the stomach to rebuild. Or perhaps they didn't have any insurance.
They died.
Ah, yeah, I suppose that would explain it.
Well, I just thought it was interesting.
Well, why don't you grab whatever bits you need from the car and come inside and meet the Blake clan? Where did you park?
Actually, that's a funny story. My car sort of died on me back up on the main road.
You walked up here?
Thought it was closer than it was.
Have you called the breakdown people?
No phone service, so I...
No, no, of course. Well, you can call them from inside and I'll give you a lift back down there when they arrive.
Well, that's very kind of you.
That's no problem. Don't mention fires and dead people in the house, though. My son hears enough bumps in the night as it is.
That's the end of the first audio file.
Interesting.
Which part?
I don't know, maybe all of it. I mean, what I've got here, all the information on Phil Gibson from the missing persons investigation. Gibson didn't work for the local paper.
Well, no, he didn't say which one. There are a few. Or it could be...
No, I've got everything. His employment history, bank statements going back years. He's never received a single payment from anyone for writing anything. He didn't even live locally. Phil Gibson went missing from a grotty little bedsit in North London. He worked part-time for a second-hand bookshop. His boss reported him missing the day after the Blakes disappeared. Apparently, Gibson hadn't shown up for work 3 days on the trot.
Well, now we know where he was. But why is he lying to Jonathan Blake?
I don't know. Keep going.
OK. According to the metadata on the file, this is 22 minutes later. The first few minutes are lost, so...
Just gets too much after a while and you long for a bit of peace and quiet.
I don't really know London, I'm afraid.
But you've always lived around here?
Well...
Sugar, Phil?
Oh, no, just black, thanks.
Sorry, I know you're supposed to be asking me the question.
That's okay.
He's nervous.
I'm used to talking about my work, but not about myself. To journalists, I mean, these kind of
I said it would be a good
pieces.
idea.
I mean, yes, you have Imogen to thank for that. Introducing us to the local community, wasn't it?
Something like that, although I hope it didn't sound quite that pompous.
Mum, can I have a snack?
This is Matthew. Matthew, this is Mr. Gibson. He's from the local paper to interview Daddy.
Hi.
Hello.
Can I have a snack?
You just had lunch.
I'm hungry.
Did he have any fruit at lunchtime?
Yeah, he had an apple.
Sorry, Philip, this is Bisa. She looks after Matthew every now and again.
Hello.
This Beezer woman wasn't mentioned in the original Blake investigation. But she could be the fifth body.
You can't have chocolate, have some fruit.
I don't want fruit.
Matthew.
We're talking to Mr. Gibson, Matthew. Take some fruit and go back to what you were doing. Bisa, could you...
Yeah, come this way.
I'm sorry, where were we?
I've completely lost the thread. Is that on? Your recorder, there's a red light on, is it?
Oh, I see.
No,
well, yes, it is.
Is that...
well, if you were to say something pertinent here...
Is that ethical?
Well, if you'd rather I turned it off, that's
I'm just
fine.
worried...
It's just that I wouldn't want to misquote something that you said. It's to aid accuracy,
Yes,
you
yes.
see. I should have said,
No, but it tends to put people on guard.
No, that's fine.
When I say
it's fine.
first.
When I'm just, overreacting. I'm just not used to... Ignore me. It's fine.
Oh, I should have asked. I'm sorry.
No, not at all. We should probably go into my study, let everyone get on here.
Of course.
Oh, your car. You need to call the breakdown people.
Oh, yes.
Maybe that should wait.
Why?
Well, if they turn up halfway through.
Oh, that's true.
And there's plenty of time.
Well, I'm fine with that.
You sure?
Probably better.
Well, all right then.
Lead the way.
We'd originally intended to go with wood floors all through here, with underfloor heating, but there was all this stone scattered around the site, so I decided to use that. It felt more traditional, as if we were somehow incorporating the area into the design.
Well, perhaps that was from the original house.
What was?
The stone.
Oh, I see. There was a house here before, you say?
Apparently, yes.
This is where I hide out and do my work. The computers are all linked into the servers in the London office, and I've got video conferencing set up so I can share designs and ideas with the guys up there. Grab a seat.
Oh, I should start a new recording for the interview itself. Just 1 sec. What was that weird noise?
No idea. It didn't sound like an artifact on the recording. More like it was actually there in the room at the time.
No, but you'd mention it, though, wouldn't you? If it's something happening here, you'd say something.
You'd have thought.
Play it again, just that last bit.
It felt more traditional, as if we were somehow incorporating the area into the design.
Perhaps that was from the original house.
What was it?
The stone.
Oh, I see.
No idea what that is. I can clean it up and analyse it. See if there are any recognisable components to the sound.
Bird songs bothering me.
What about it?
They're swallows.
OK. Leaving aside the obvious question of what kind of person actually recognises birdsong, why is it a deal that they're swallows?
Well, this is November. Swallows are in Africa in November.
Maybe these ones were lost. Or lazy. Or racist.
Look, the birds don't make a choice to migrate, they just do it. There are no swallows in the New Forest in November.
I don't know what to do with that information. Am I carrying on?
Yeah.
Jonathan Blake interview, 4th of November 2004 at 4:22 p.m. So, what attracted you to the New Forest, Mr. Blake?
Mister, we've gone formal for this now.
Oh, I'm sorry. That's just a force of habit, I suppose.
Most of the projects I've worked on over the last few years have been corporate buildings. London, Berlin, Bilbao. There have been a couple of residences, but they were out in the Middle East. I wanted to do something for me, for the family. Something English. And we've lived in London for a long time. We wanted to change, something quieter, something traditional, I suppose.
And when was the house finished?
Finished? Well, we moved in a couple of months ago. I'm not sure a house is ever really finished, is it? I mean, a corporate building, yes, you put the final touches and a company moves in, and that's... But a house is a home.
And there's a distinction.
Don't you think? We might say of somebody's house that it feels lived in. Well, what's that? You might picture a tatty old sofa or some pictures on the wall or a favourite chair, but that's just stuff. What we really mean is that there's a warmth about it, a friendliness. I'm desperately trying to avoid the word vibe, but you know what I mean.
Memories.
Yeah, I suppose, yes. Accumulated memories, left behind by the people that have lived there, the things that have happened. It's as if they soak into the fabric of the place.
I must say I'm a little surprised to hear an architect.
Well, yes.
It's just not how I imagined you viewed things.
And I probably wouldn't be saying this to one of the professional journals. But I think we all feel that to some extent. That a successful house, a home, as distinct from a corporate project, is more than the sum of the design and the building materials. We become attached to places, don't we?
citizen.
What happened?
That's as much as we've got. According to metadata, this clip runs another hour and a half, but it's all corrupted.
I want to know who the hell this guy is and why the hell he's pretending to be a journalist.
What about the kid?
What about him?
Her? It was a girl.
I thought it was a little boy.
That was a girl's voice.
Are you sure? Well, they didn't have a little girl. How could it be a girl?
I don't know. Didn't you think it was weird that neither of them acknowledged her presence?
Maybe. Yeah, it was weird.
It was as if they couldn't hear her.
Well, how's that? How could it be on the recording but they didn't hear it in the room?
They didn't seem to hear the sound in the hallway earlier.
Can something get on the tape without...
Without, what, coming through the microphone?
Yeah.
No. Well, yes, if the recording was doctored after the fact, but it wasn't.
How do you know?
This is a digital recording. It's ones and zeros. You might not hear something that was doctored if it was done well, but the equipment here would spot it as additional data. It would be out of sequence.
And it's not?
No.
And your equipment couldn't be...
No.
Okay. Next one.
There's something here. There's something in the house. I've played back some sections of the previous recordings. Kitchen seems clean. But there was some kind of noise in the hallway. And in Blake's study, there was a little girl. She was...
You all right in there?
Just a second.
Hi.
Sorry, I just wanted to make sure you were okay.
Oh, I'm fine.
There's some fresh coffee on, or maybe something stronger. I know what some of you journalists are like.
Oh, coffee's fine.
Great, great. Well, we'll go down to the kitchen and you can call the breakdown. Yeah, coming. Excuse me a minute.
Do you mind if I have a nose round?
Yeah, sure. You can find your way back down?
Sure. Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't realise. It's Matthew, isn't it? Amazing house. Well, Dad's a very clever man, isn't he? Built all this. Do you know the little girl's name, Matthew?
Mary.
Mary. Okay. Does Mary live in the house? What's funny?
She lives in the house. She lives on the floor.
Oh, of course, yes. In the stone floor, downstairs. Does Mary talk to you?
She taught me a song.
Oh, wow. Wow, that is cool. How does it go?
Can't remember.
I think you can. You can remember, can't you, Matthew? Can you sing the song to me?
Phil?
Oh, we're in here. I was just chatting to Matthew.
Sorry about that, phone. Should we go down? Are you still recording?
Excuse me?
The red light.
Oh, I'm sorry, yes, it was just... I was making some notes about the house and I must have just left it on. Sorry.
This guy is genuinely creepy.
Gibson is.
Don't you think?
No, I think Gibson's on the make. That Matthew kid, on the other hand...
On the make how?
Well, I don't know yet, but there's going to be a money motive in this somewhere.
But the little girl we heard singing...
Is the same one teaching the spooky kids show tunes? Well, that's exactly what you're meant to think, or rather what the Blakes are meant to think. Now, this is a scam of some kind, trust me.
What, a scam that somehow ends with them all going back in time and getting murdered with scissors?
Well, if that's part of the con as well.
Oh, seriously?
What, it's all really happening? Is there a Mr. here?
My father.
No, I meant...
I know what you meant. The next clip's logged at 2 minutes later.
There you are. How was it?
It was fine, I think. Was it?
It was very good. Got pretty much everything I need.
Pretty much.
Well, there are always things you forget to ask or wish you'd followed up on.
Has Matthew turned his light off?
Not yet.
Is he still playing that game?
Yeah, I think so.
I told him half an hour.
Well, where's Bisa?
She's gone.
Gone home, but it's not
You
even...
remember I said she'd
Hold on a
gone
second.
today?
She can't have gone, the nanny.
Why not?
5 bodies.
Maybe she comes back.
Or maybe she never went.
What? She's hiding in a cupboard or something, you mean?
Not exactly, but...
Part of this elaborate con. Gibson and the nanny walk away at the end with trunks of money dressed as policemen.
All right, you're making fun of me. I'm just saying the nanny...
Can't have left.
Because she's the 5th body.
I get it.
Well, who else could it be?
I don't know. But the nanny left.
Well, maybe she comes back.
Or maybe she never left.
That's... I see what you did there.
Shall I?
Please.
So Phil needs to phone the breakdown service.
Now?
Yeah, why?
Dinner. I've just put dinner... You need to give him a lift down to the car, and it's going to happen right in the middle of...
I can walk. Really?
No, we can't walk. It's pitch black out there. 2 miles on a dirt track. Don't be silly.
Well, then...
Stay for dinner.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
Well, I couldn't impose.
Nonsense, there's loads.
Then call the breakdown service after.
Well, if you're sure, I
Or
mean...
not.
Not what?
So I was going to open a bottle of wine. If you call the breakdown people late in the evening, you don't know when they're finally going to turn up, and you can't have a drink in case...
Stop the tape.
It's not like we don't have play.
She's in on it.
Imogen?
She's in on it.
In on what?
Well, whatever it is.
Well, because she's suggesting he stay the night.
Exactly.
She's not just being hospitable.
Who does that?
Not you, clearly.
To a stranger? A journalist, supposedly, is what they think he is.
Imogen Blake's in on it, whatever it is, with Gibson.
Yeah.
And the nanny?
Well, we can't be certain about the
nanny in the cupboard.
Okay.
I just think you're jumping to conclusions.
Okay, so play the tape.
Because someone's hospitable.
Play the tape.
I suppose it would be easier. It's very kind of you.
Okay. What's going on here?
Going on?
There we go. He's got it. This guy's sharp.
Jonathan.
No car. What made you think that there was
Same
no...
thing that makes me think you're not a journalist for the local paper.
Well, that's
Borne out by the fact that I called the local paper 10 minutes ago and they'd never heard of you.
Ah, well, I know what's happened there. The girl on reception is new,
Forget it.
so I'm freelance, you see,
He's not
so...
a journalist.
Thank you.
Told you.
Mr. Gibson is a paranormal investigator.
A what?
It means I look
I
into...
know what it means. We talked about this.
And you said no.
I did.
And I'm still worried about Matthew.
He's 7 years old. He imagines things. That's what 7-year-olds do.
Actually, if I
No,
may...
you may not.
This is more than his imagination.
According to who? This guy? And just how much are we paying
I'm
this
not
man?
charging a fee.
Oh, please. You've got an angle. I'm not stupid.
Are we going to talk about this like grown-ups?
Well, it doesn't seem likely, does
Well,
it?
I'm saying we are. We're going to sit down, eat this food, and have a conversation about this.
Is it better if I go?
Yes.
Sit, both of you. Mr. Gibson?
Phil, please.
Phil?
Well, this is going to sound outlandish.
Surprise me.
Mrs. Blake contacted me about this case a couple of weeks ago. Now, as I understand it, Matthew has reported seeing and communicating with a girl about his age. A girl called Mary.
That's right.
He has an imaginary friend.
Now, we don't rule that out, obviously.
Oh, that's nice.
Johnny.
But he describes Mary as wearing clothes that match those a girl would have worn in the early part of the last
So
century.
he saw something on TV.
And he claims that she taught him a nursery rhyme.
He won't stop singing it.
Could have got that from anywhere.
That's true. Nothing about this is particularly unusual. 7-year-olds have imaginary friends. They watch TV. They're influenced by all sorts of things.
My point exactly.
None of that is what's happening here, Mr. Blake. There was a house that stood on this exact site. It was built in the early 1700s and it burnt to the ground in 1926.
So?
Well, according to the sole local newspaper article from the time that I was able to pull off the web, the Marston family, whose house it was, were all murdered on June the 17th, 1926. They were killed in their beds, stabbed to death with dressmaking scissors by their youngest daughter, who subsequently vanished into thin air. The girl's name was Mary. She was actually 9 years old.
Even if that's true, do you seriously expect
You took
us
the
to
stone from that house and you used it for the floor in your hallway.
It's just stone.
Matthew said that Mary lives in the floor.
No, this is ridiculous.
She's there. Matthew can hear her. We can't. But we can record her. I recorded her. Listen.
He would have needed to turn it off to play them the earlier recordings. So he's a paranormal...
You're a ghost hunter.
How did you not know that?
Me?
Well, plural. I mean, the police. The guy gets reported missing.
Well, I don't think he chased ghosts as an actual paying job, and I don't think they have a union, so he doesn't show up on records anyway.
And no one looks into these things.
In London? Do you have any idea how many people go missing?
Tell me you're not finding this the slightest bit creepy.
It's a scam.
He's not asking for any money.
Well, not yet, but it's still a scam.
Are you sure?
Well, how can it not be? Come on, the house is haunted by the ghost of a murderous 9-year-old girl. Come on.
So he's a con man.
Has to be.
And yet, at some point during the next few hours, all the people in that house vanish. And when you found their bodies...
But there is an explanation for this. There's a logical...
When you found their bodies, they'd been stabbed to death with dressmaking scissors.
So you're actually buying this?
In 1926.
What do you want me to say, Rachel? Yes, it's all true. They were attacked by a ghost and they went back in time.
I'm getting carried away.
A little bit, yeah.
Oh.
Can I use this phone? I don't have any service down here.
Dial 9. I'm going to run that noise in the hallway through some filters, see if I can clean it up.
Hi, it's Marquez. I'm on the Blake House thing. Can you pull me up whatever you can find on a house that was on the site previously? Apparently it burned down in 1926. Family name, family members, what happened to them, any contact details for surviving members or their children. Yeah, also the Blake family had a nanny, first name Beezer, Bravo, India, Sierra, Alpha, no surname. She may well be an illegal. See what you can find. Yeah, and then I need you to call the Met and find out if anyone there has anything on this guy, Phil Gibson, setting himself up as a paranormal investigator. Yes, as in ghosts. I know. No, I don't think... No, it's a scam. I'm just trying to work out what kind of scam it is. Okay. You got this number? I don't know, another hour maybe, then I'm on my mobile. Okay, cheers.
There's something in here. It's actually a mix of different sounds, but it's going to take a little while to separate them out.
Can it happen in the background while we carry on?
Well, you have to be somewhere.
We'll have to be in bed.
See, Matthew's hearing a voice which we can't hear. Now, I originally assumed that the voice would be inside his head. Not imagined, I don't mean that, but literally inside his head, as if someone were speaking directly into his brain.
And now you don't think that?
Ah, you heard it on the recordings.
I heard something.
That noise. I don't know what that is. And the voice of the little girl singing. Mary.
So if it's on your tape?
Somehow it comes through on the recordings, even though we can't hear it in the room.
How is that possible?
Honestly, I don't know. I mean, I'm not a... Maybe a technical thing to do with sound. I mean, I'm not an audio expert, but there are precedents.
Like what?
Photographs. Pictures people have taken of perfectly ordinary things, weddings, holidays, whatever. And when the pictures are developed, there's something else there. You know, figure in the background, someone they swear wasn't there at the time.
I thought those things were all fakes.
Some, but not all. This is a lot to take on board, I know. And people don't tend to believe in this stuff. A few hundred years ago, yes, but now... Well, we understand more now. And I suppose that makes us think we understand everything. If you're having difficulty with this, I think that'd be normal.
I'm just worried about my son.
Of course.
So is Jonathan. We've talked about it. This is so far away from anything he'd ever buy into.
Okay, there we go. So, the idea is, there's a recording device here, which should pick up everything in this area, whether we hear it or not. It then sends a signal to this laptop, and you can see the waveforms on the screen as I'm talking. And that means that anything it picks up, even if we can't hear it, should register on the screen. I've also connected the laptop to these speakers, so we'll be able to hear what's being recorded. And we heard some sounds on those recordings earlier that weren't audible in the room. And with this setup, we should hear them from the speakers almost simultaneously with them being recorded.
Okay, so what do we... Oh, that's weird.
Testing. Testing. 1, 2, 3. There anybody there? Huh? Oh, that all seems to be fine.
How are you doing with that noise?
It's, well, the software's doing its thing. I can't see how this is something Gibson is making happen.
You mean technically?
If it was just coming from the speakers, then no problem. He could trigger a pre-recorded sample to play back using a remote. That's easy. But it's on this recording a second before it comes out of the speakers. I don't know how you do that.
You don't know, or...
I mean, there's no way to do that.
So what does that mean?
It means it's a real noise. I don't know what it is or where it's coming from, but it is happening in situ, and I don't think Gibson's controlling it in any way. And it's spiking the recorder.
It's what?
Somehow it causes the recorder to shut down. Each time we've heard it, the recorder has shut off immediately, like it's overloading it somehow.
Is there another clip?
Yeah, a few seconds later. Gibson must have realised the machine had cut out, and he's switched it back on again.
Well, let's hear it.
The same as you played us before.
It is.
What is it?
I don't know. Is anyone there?
I should get Jonathan.
Shh. We're listening.
There was something there, before the noise.
I didn't hear anything.
No, neither did I, but there's a spike in the waveform. The recorder picked something up. Right here. Just give me a second. Okay. There. That's her.
Now, hold on, that could be anything.
It's not anything. That is a little girl giggling. I do this for a living, Jim. Allow me to know. Whoever Gibson was, whatever he was trying to achieve here, this is not him. He is not doing this.
Okay.
I don't know what this is. Hello? Yeah, hold on.
Yeah. Yeah, okay, 1 sec. Go. Uh-huh. Okay. Well, seriously? Okay. Yeah. Yeah? When was this? Uh-huh. All right, thank you.
What?
Weird.
What is?
Okay, the original house on that site was occupied by the Marston family. They moved in just before the First World War. And they were all found murdered on June the 17th, 1926.
All?
Well, mother, father, 2 boys. The youngest was a girl.
Mary?
Yeah. And she killed them all. Stabbed them with a pair of scissors.
And what happened to her?
Well, that's where Gibson's wrong. Well, not exactly wrong. She didn't vanish. She was taken into care. They changed her name to protect her, I suppose. She spent the rest of her life in a string of secure psychiatric hospitals. Apparently her mind never developed beyond that of a 9-year-old girl. She was violent, dangerous. I don't know what caused it or what was actually wrong with her.
So where is she now?
She died.
Of?
I don't know. Old age. She had a stroke in 2003, slipped into a coma. She hung on for a while, but she never woke up.
Okay. Well, she was in no shape to kill anyone then. What are you not telling me?
The weird part. Mary Marston died in the early hours of the morning of the 4th of November, 2004.
That's...
Yet the date the Blake family disappeared.
What time?
12:37 in the morning. Where are we now?
The next clip is timestamped at 12:29.
8 minutes to go.
She went to check on Matthew. Said she might try and get some sleep.
Can I talk to you?
Of course.
Somewhere where my voice isn't being broadcast all over the house.
Oh, cool, sorry, yes. I think we are going to get something on tape. I mean, we already have something, but I think we'll get something more substantial.
Why are you doing this?
I'm sorry?
Imogen's worried about Matthew. I'm not going to pretend I'm not concerned as well, but this, what's in it for you?
Well, I thought I made that clear. I've no intention of charging.
If not money, then what?
Well, this is what I do.
What, for a living? Don't tell me it's not possible for someone to make a living like this.
No, not for a living, no.
Well, curiosity, then?
I suppose.
Because you believe in all this?
I do. Well, that is to say, I do now. I didn't always, but things I've experienced have... It's very difficult to put into...
Well, you've seen a ghost?
No.
Because that would seem to be a prerequisite of believing.
I've gathered evidence.
Evidence?
Recordings.
What, like recordings you're making here?
Yes.
That could be anything?
No, I don't think so.
An indistinguishable sound that could be some kind of interference, something that may or may not be footsteps.
I've felt
Oh, yeah,
things...
what have you felt?
The presence. And I feel it here. There's something...
Your feelings count as evidence?
To me, yes.
What do they call that? Your what is it? Sensitive?
Some people call it that.
And if you found something here beyond a shiver or a vague feeling, beyond a few sideshow tricks with a tape recorder...
I am not conning
If
you
you saw something, for instance, not just you, if we all saw something, what then?
I don't know.
Yeah, you don't know. Do you know why you don't know?
Please.
Because you're an amateur, Mr. Gibson. I don't think you're a con man. I don't. I think you genuinely believe in what you do.
Thank you.
But that's no use, is it? Because you've never really found anything, and you don't have the first clue what you'd do if you did.
Without proper observation, it's impossible to make any kind of decision.
I've seen her. The little girl. Mary Marston, if that's who she is. I've seen her.
Oh, how? Where?
In the mirror, the one in the hall. I was putting my coat on yesterday morning. She was standing behind me.
And what did she look like?
A little girl. Pale. Long dark hair, almost black. She was wearing a blue dress. She was just looking at me in the mirror.
And when you turned round?
No. Nothing there.
You've seen her?
Yes.
Well, then why didn't you...
Because I wanted it to be my imagination. Matthew's stories and Imogen's concern for him. She'd already mentioned talking to someone like you. I just wanted it to be my mind playing tricks.
And why don't you think it was?
Because I've never been so scared in my life. I don't mean that she made me jump, because she didn't, which is probably strange in itself, but there was this overwhelming feeling of dread. I can only imagine it's what passengers in a crashing plane might feel. This terrible certainty. I didn't want it to be real. And bringing someone like you here, talking about it, making recordings, that somehow makes it more real. I don't believe in any of this stuff, but I saw her, Mr. Gibson, and I think she's evil, really, truly evil.
She's here.
Where's Imogen?
She's upstairs, she's fine. Whatever this is, it can't do anything. Come on. Hello? Mary? Mary? You there?
What does any of this mean?
I don't know. But if we can talk to her, maybe she can tell us what she means, why she can't rest.
No, we can't talk to her. You don't understand. There's something nasty here, something really...
Here I am. I've come home.
12:38. 1 minute after Mary Marston died. She came back to the house. Well, what on earth do you think that was?
I don't know.
Do you have any theory that fits what happened in that house better than what we're listening to?
No theory, but a lifetime experience that tell me there's no such thing as
Are
ghosts.
you listening to what's happening here, Jim?
I know what's on the tape, but how it got there...
You came to me because I'm an expert. And I'm telling you, this is not a fake.
Okay, all right.
No, don't pacify me. Tell me what we do.
Do? Rachel, take a step back. This is a recording, 6 years old. Whatever happens has already happened. There's nothing to be done except to try to understand what it is that we're listening to.
I want to go there.
Go where?
To the house.
To the house? You decode audio files in your little room here. You don't go to crime scenes. Why are you, Quincy?
Well, it's on my way home.
No, it isn't. It's 2 miles down a track in the middle of a forest. It's not on anyone's way home.
Don't you have to know? You're a detective.
Yeah, and 15 years in this job have put me at peace with not always knowing. I get that this is disturbing to listen to. I'm not immune to that. But this is the past. Now, whether this is a con or a hoax or something more than that, there's nothing that we can do to stop it playing out.
I got...
Yeah.
Thanks for not slapping me around the face.
Well, that was plan B. How many more clips?
This is the last one.
Okay, you right to carry on?
Don't push it.
Okay.
That was her, wasn't it?
Do you think?
What does she mean she's come home?
Well, that's what we need to ask her. If she's ready to talk.
Matthew!
Imogen! Imogen! Matthew!
Imogen!
I don't want to. I don't want to.
What's the matter?
It's okay, darling. It was just a bad dream.
You have so much to do. Go away. Make her go away.
Her? Who is it, Matthew?
Come and play with me. I don't want to.
Is Mary here, Matthew?
It's okay. She's not really here.
I can see her. She's over there.
There's no one there, darling.
Can you see her?
No.
Why would he be able
It doesn't
to?
matter.
Bad things are going to happen. Go away.
There's no one there.
She doesn't exist, Matthew.
We need to get out of here.
Downstairs, come on.
Stop it. Stop it.
Go, get out. I've got Matthew. Come on. You hold on to me. I've got you.
Let's get out of the house.
It's locked. It's locked.
No. Where is she?
It's not here. No.
She's here.
Mary? Mary? My name's Phil. I just want to talk to you. Mary? Mary, can you hear me? We don't mean you any harm.
I'm not listening.
Without that equipment, we can't hear you, Mary. Mary! Mary!
I'm just...
Oh, something just hit me! Oh, my leg's bleeding! She stabbed me! This one! We can go through this one, I can get it open! There shouldn't be a door there! Come on!
I don't know what the hell we just heard. What's that?
The audio filters. They've broken down the noise we've been hearing.
And?
1 second. It's a composite, a whole bunch of sounds laid over the top of each other.
So can you play them individually?
Yeah. That's the first one, but hold on, because I think the sound wave is distorted, as if it's passing through something dense.
Like stone?
Yeah, like stone. Let me just adjust for the... There.
That's...
It's Matthew Blake.
But this is the sound that you put off an earlier recording, before anything had happened.
Yes. If I give the other layers the same treatment...
The Blake family, so who are the others?
The Marstons?
But how is that?
Well, how's it possible they were hearing their own screams? I don't know.
Okay.
Okay, what?
Can you just put it all on a disc for me and I'll give the voice recorder back to forensics?
That's it?
Well, there are no answers to be had here either. Whatever happened to the Blake family, that's a specialist investigation now. All I can do is pass it on. They asked me to get the audio cleaned up. You've done that. Now hand it all and go home.
Radio waves.
What about them?
Shortwave. Or maybe a mobile phone signal, especially if there's an antenna nearby. Or even a Bluetooth signal.
So you're talking about interference?
Yeah, it would be a freak occurrence for a digital recorder like this to get what would essentially be a crossed line with some other broadcast. But if there's something in the house or on the site that generates an unusual magnetic field, and it could account for all the voices being mashed up together.
Well, how likely is that?
You mean, is it more or less likely than these being the screams of people who've been transported back in time to be murdered by the ghost of a 9-year-old girl?
Well, how do we find out for sure?
A control recording.
You want to go to the house?
Record a few minutes in each room with no one talking, nothing else happening. Then compare that to these recordings to see if anything is interfering with.
You want to go to the Blake house?
That's on my way home.
We've already done this.
No, I was hysterical then.
Whereas now,
completely rational. Whoever investigates this, it's going to be the first thing they ask for.
Well, then let them get it.
So much easier to just...
It's not our job. Seriously, Rachel, you cleaned up these recordings. That's all you needed to do. Thank you very much.
Don't you want to know?
There's still 5 dead bodies, whatever the sound turns out to be.
Yeah. Sorry.
Okay. No, I don't need to tell you not to mention any of this to anyone, do I?
Who would believe me?
It's true. You okay?
Fine. Yeah, I'm fine.
Good.
Do you want to wait for this disc, or should I...
Well, no, I'll send someone to grab it in the morning.
Good. Okay.
Okay. Well, thank you for staying late. I owe you one.
Yeah.
Get some sleep.
Well, it's almost on my way home. Anyone there? Hope I'm not waking anyone up. Okay. This is a room tone recording for control purposes of the Blake house. This is the hallway. It's just inside the front door. Okay, now let's see. This is a room tone recording for control purposes of the Blake house. This is the hallway. It's just inside the front door. Okay, nothing there. Okay, I'm just going to leave this on and walk through the house because I don't want to overstay my welcome. If there's some squatters or whatever sleeping upstairs. This is hallway, bottom of the stairs. This is the kitchen. We didn't hear any background sound here on the recordings, but do it anyway. Okay, well, this looks like it would have been Jonathan Blake's study. This is where we heard the little girl. So, this door goes to... Damn it. Hello?
Rachel? It's Jim.
Hi, sorry, I've just managed to break my... Everything all right?
Yeah. What are you doing?
I'm trying to open something. Hold on, let me put you on speaker. Can you hear me?
Yeah, where are you?
Hold on. Hi, sorry.
Wow, can you turn that off a second? I can hardly hear you.
Turn what off?
Hello?
I'm here.
Rachel?
Oh, one sec. Hang on. Which room's this?
Are you still at work? I thought you'd have left. Can you turn that off?
Turn what off?
What do you mean? The bloody noise, the screaming is deafening.
Oh, no.
Look, I've got some news. My lot managed to track Beta down, the nanny. She's alive and well, so whoever that fifth body was...
Jim, can you hear me?
You still there? Hello?
Help me!
Rachel?
I'm just here.
In Bad Memories by Julian Simpson, Rachel Weir was played by Nicola Walker, Jim Marquez, Rupert Graves, Philip Gibson, Stephen McIntosh, Imogen Blake, Jana Carpenter, Jonathan Blake, Anthony Calf, Matthew Blake, Oscar Richardson, Mary Marsden, Imogen McCurdy, Student 1, Ashley Cook, and Student 2, Marcus Webb. Bad Memories was recorded on location at Stanmer House in Brighton by Lucinda Mason-Brown. Sound design was by David Chilton. The director was Julian Simpson. The producer, Karen Rose.
The Blackpool Detective by Peter Worley.
I think I'm going to have a word with the consultant myself.
What word would that be?
Well, ask him how long before Dad will be mobile again.
Why? You don't want to do this anymore? You want to tuck the whole thing in and go back to London?
That's not what I'm saying.
Oh, but it's close. Only I promised to take your daddy for a stroll this morning, so I could tell him then.
I just don't want to be a private detective for the rest of my life.
You'd rather be an out-of-work actor? Honey, this is your best role yet. I've never seen you so focused.
Thanks.
You get your suit on like you have now.
New client.
Oh, I guessed. And you sit there behind your daddy's desk, and you look like Philip Marlowe and Sam Spade rolled into one.
I can open it again if we need the fresh air.
Do you mind if I smoke?
No. There's an ashtray here somewhere. There we are.
Thank you.
So, Mrs. Donovan, just how is it you think we can help?
I'd like you to follow my husband and find out if he's seeing another woman.
That is the kind of thing we do, yeah.
No, actually, I know he's seeing another woman because I know him.
Right.
What I don't know is who she is. And, well, whether this is just another of his flings, which you'd think I'd be used to by now, or is it something I should be more worried about?
How about a little rest on this bench?
Only if you want one.
Oh, I need one.
Well, okay.
Oh. Maybe you should stay here while I go get the car.
You do. I'll take all my clothes off and go for a swim.
You would, too.
Now, I'm going to ask you something, and I want an honest answer.
What?
How's Ben? Well, how's he finding all this? Running the agency while I get fitted with my new hips.
Loves it.
Not the impression I get.
Daddy, I sleep with him. He tells me everything.
If you say so. Because I appreciate the two of you coming up. I just don't want to become a burden.
He loves every minute. To tell you the truth, I think he's inherited some genetic stuff that disposes him towards private investigating.
Well, from me? You think so?
I'd say he was born for it.
I have to warn you, Mrs. Donovan, surveillance is time-consuming and expensive.
The cost doesn't matter.
Fine. But what would help reduce it? I mean, is there a particular time when you think your husband might be seeing this other woman?
Afternoons.
Right.
He spends every morning in the shop, then come lunchtime, he leaves Graham in charge. Graham's his assistant.
I see.
Then off he goes. And sometimes won't be back till just before closing.
And this is every afternoon?
No, just certain ones. Today, for instance.
You think he'll be meeting this woman today?
I'm pretty sure, yes.
Can I ask you how you know that?
Because of the way he behaved towards me this morning. He was very affectionate.
And it's when he's affectionate?
And that's when I know he's going to be spending the day with somebody else.
We walked as far as the Central Pier.
What? He's trying to wear out his new hips?
Then we had a rest. And he asked me how you were finding running the agency.
And you said? No, wait. I know what you said. You said I'm loving it.
Tell me about this new client.
Oh, so I'm right, you did.
Another follow my husband job.
Aren't they all?
What is it about this town that nobody is happily married? Too much ozone, you think?
Or too many hotels with vacancy signs. That's his shop.
Vincent Donovan, Men's Outfitters.
We're looking for a green Audi that he parks around the back.
And he's seeing this other woman today.
Yeah, his wife reckons she can tell by how he behaves towards her in the morning.
Let me guess, he's nice to her.
How did you know?
Deceitful men always overcompensate.
Oh, I would ask what deceitful women do, but then you'll say...
No such thing.
Right.
Hey, there he goes.
I've got him.
Do you have a camera?
In there, and the recorder.
We're assuming that he's waiting there for the floozy.
Can we call her that?
I can.
Then we're assuming that, yeah. Donovan case. Tuesday the 28th, time...
1:20.
1:20. Observing subject parked on Queen's Road.
Who's he approaching?
A young woman is approaching.
Young?
Subject gets out of the car to greet her. Give me the camera. Give me... Thanks.
Floozy is aged at least mid-30s, has blonde hair, which may be a wig. In fact, I'd give odds. Aryan in looks, that sort of square-faced pussycat thing that older men seem to go for. And what is that she's wearing?
Okay, let's go.
Some kind of hideous pink suit over a white top with white leather boots. Well, you're trying, honey. We can't deny that.
205. Have followed subject to the Hourglass restaurant, Cleveley's. Subject and female companion have gone into restaurant and are occupying corner table. Oh, yeah?
1 tuna, 1 salmon.
Oh, great.
And water and orange juice.
I'm continuing surveillance.
You want the salmons?
Whichever. Oh. What I'd really like is some clear shots of them when they come out. I mean, a lot closer than we can get from here. So, I've had this brilliant idea.
Yes?
Well, we go right up to the door, both of us, in full view, and make it look like it's you I'm photographing.
And hope they won't notice a 6-foot black woman sprawled across the steps. What will they do, step over me?
They'll assume you're a model and I'm photographing you for some magazine. Now, a nice, big smile.
Do you want me to stick my bum out?
I didn't dare ask. Right, they're coming. Look into the camera. That's good. Yep, big smile. Lovely. Now, a little bit more serious. Yeah, smouldering. Like you really, really fancy me.
Oh, come on.
Pretend. That's it. That's great. Now, just hold that. Now, just come round. Come round a little bit. I want some of them getting into the camera. Great. Now, hold it. Hold it. And just 2 more, which this time really are of you. So, big smile.
And what do you want pictures of me for?
Because I love you. Of course I want pictures of you. Mineral water?
Thank you.
And a pint for you, Dad.
Right. So, is this right, what Anna's telling me? You take on a new client, then do the surveillance and the report all on the same day?
We did.
Have we set a record?
Or even come near.
Why does that not surprise me?
I once had a case. A woman came in, said, I want you to follow my husband, and gave me his photograph. I said, if this is him, then forget the following. I can tell you right now what he's up to. See, I recognised him. He'd been coming in my local and formed quite a relationship with the barmaid. So I told the wife, case was over, and she hadn't been in the office 10 minutes.
Which makes us look pretty slow.
Okay. But have you ever had a rival?
Rival?
Well, we were snapping this guy and his floozy.
Subject and female companion.
Snapping them as they came out of the restaurant and drove off, which is when Ben pointed out...
We weren't the only ones taking pictures.
How come?
There was somebody else. Another photographer.
He was on the other side of the car, so we hadn't noticed him. But he was there all the time, taking pictures of them, just the same as we were.
I'll get you the ashtray.
Thank you.
So,
you followed my husband?
We did, yes. We followed him from the shop and observed him meeting a lady and then taking her to a restaurant. In fact, it was the Hourglass in Cleveley's.
I believe it's very nice.
It looked nice, yeah. Anyway, I've done a written report, which is here, and you can take away. And also, here, we've got some photographs.
Thank you.
Which, of course, you can also take away.
Oh, yes.
You recognise her?
I recognise the type. I suppose you might say it's me 10 years ago. 15.
I'll put them in an envelope.
Can I ask, how did they, act towards one another?
Well...
Did they hold hands? Did you see them kissing?
They were doing both of those things, yes. I don't mind it when they get angry. Wait till I get my hands on him, I'll kill the lying scumbag. Or like that woman last week, I mean, she was delighted. It was the evidence she needed to take her husband for every penny he'd got, but...
Mrs. Donovan wasn't either of those?
She just sat there looking at the pictures, then started crying. I had to give her my handkerchief.
The way you told it, she knew anyway.
I think she was hoping she was wrong.
Okay, honey, but you didn't make her unhappy. She was unhappy before she came to us.
I'm not denying that, but...
And the person who made her that way is her louse of a husband. All you've done is given her a weapon so she could fight back.
And will she?
Hope so. Pity we can't be there. I'd give anything to see her lousy husband's face when she puts the pictures in front of him.
You have 3 messages. Message 1.
This is Vincent Donovan. We haven't actually met, but I think you'll know who I am when I say that my wife is called Beatrice. Beatrice Donovan.
What?
Who I gather employed you to follow me, which I know you did. And judging by the pictures, I suppose I should say you did a good job.
This was the husband?
Left a message on the answer phone.
Saying what exactly?
That he wanted to see me.
Oh, well, no. No, you don't have anything to do with that.
Wanted to see you, why?
Didn't say. Just went on about how I'd done a good job for his wife. So now he wants me to do the same for him.
What, and follow her?
Dad, I've no idea.
A private investigator is like a solicitor. You can't go representing both sides of a dispute. You've already been employed by her. Let him go and find somebody else.
He didn't say he wants me to follow her.
Then what else?
Well, I don't know.
No, and you don't want to know. I'm going to make some tea. Actually, I'll tell you what he wants.
Oh, you know?
Revenge is what he wants. You arrange to meet him. It'll be under the pier at midnight, and he'll be carrying an iron bar. So just wipe that message and forget you ever heard it.
Good advice.
Yeah?
You gonna follow it?
No.
Why am I not surprised?
I thought I might go to his shop, turn up when he's not expecting me, then see what he has to say.
Morning. Can I be of assistance, or are you just looking?
I'm actually looking for Mr. Donovan if he's around.
He is. Yes. He's in his office. What? You want to speak to him personally?
Well, I think it's more he wants to speak to me.
And I don't want disturbing.
Well, but you know you've got the Palzolera.
You keep him occupied. Don't order anything. Just keep him occupied.
Oh. Right. Yes.
I don't know why I employ him. So, Mr.
Lomax. Ben Lomax.
You're the private eye?
Private investigator, yes.
You're quick off the mark, I'll grant you that. I only left that message this morning.
Mr. Donovan, I was employed by your wife.
Don't I know it? Oh, but finished my marriage for me.
Well, the point is, having been employed by her, it wouldn't be ethical for me to do the same sort of job for you.
What? You think I want you to follow her?
Well...
I think you'd be wasting your time. I think she's well past all that. Mind, I didn't think she'd be up to employing a private detective. She surprised me there, so who knows?
OK. Perhaps I've jumped to the wrong conclusion. So why do you want to see me?
Here. Have a look at these.
And he handed me 4 photographs of himself and girlfriend coming out of that restaurant.
That we took?
No, that's the point. Not that we took.
Ah.
Yes.
The other photographer.
These pictures came in the post together with a letter that told me I had to pay £5,000 or else copies would go to my wife.
Blackmail?
Blackmail. Only now here's the bit that'll make you smile. At least it did me. What the blackmailer doesn't know is that you'd already spiked his guns. Thanks to you, the wife knows everything. So, I don't have to cough up a 1-penny piece.
Glad we could help.
And here's the letter. Gives an address there to send the money. Weatherall Street.
But by the looks of it, it's one of those accommodation addresses. So I don't think that's going to get us anywhere.
Get us anywhere? But Mr. Donovan, just what is it that you're expecting me to do?
Somebody's being blackmailed. They go to the police.
He doesn't want to. He's not going to pay the money anyway. All he wants is to know whether or not the girlfriend's involved.
The floozy?
Yeah, whether she's a part of it.
Why does it matter? He's hardly going to go on seeing her, whether she was a part of it or not.
Well, he might be.
Thing is, I love Melody. I'm crazy about her. I think she's wonderful, and I want to spend the rest of my life with her.
Right.
Though not if she's blackmailing me, of course, which is why it's important I find out.
So if he finds out she's not involved in the blackmail, then what? He's going to leave his wife for her?
Don't know what he's going to do. I'm not sure I want to.
I hope you told him we're not in the business of helping rats get out of traps.
Well, see, all he knows about her is her name, which, by the way, is Melody Griffin.
Melody?
But that's all he knows. She rings him at the shop, tells him where she wants picking up, and then afterwards tells him where she wants dropping off.
So it should be easy for him to dump her. I mean, come on. Why doesn't he just cut his losses and get out?
Well, because he's thinking, why should he if she's not involved in the blackmail scam?
And you know what I'm thinking? Why should we help a serial adulterer cheat on his wife?
Hang on. Hello?
Ben, it's Vince Donovan. I'm at the Hourglass like I told you. Melody's just gone to powder her nose, so I thought I'd check.
We'll be right there.
Be right where?
Only I'm going to have to shut down now, because she's on her way back.
Okay.
Who was that you were talking to?
Oh, just Graham at the shop. Check there haven't been any disasters.
And why are you looking at me like that?
Because you're beautiful.
Thank you.
And I've something to show you. Have a look at these.
Pictures of us?
Taken last time we were here.
Who by? Vince, who took these?
Well, that's what I've been wondering.
Vince, is this some kind of joke? Because...
No joke. Somebody's trying to blackmail me. They sent me these and a letter saying they'll send copies to my wife unless I pay £5,000.
No.
Now, I have to ask, which I don't like doing, but I have to. Do you know who might have done this?
You think it's me? You think I'm part of some...
No, honey, I swear. I've never for a minute even thought such a thing. But somebody took these pictures, and that somebody must have waited outside and so knew we were going to be here.
Well, it's nothing to do with me.
It's basic surveillance. It's what we do.
Mm-hmm.
Well, you know what Dad says. We just provide information. What people do with it's their business.
You're quoting your father to justify this.
Yeah, but also, I mean, this man's being blackmailed.
And deserves it.
Nobody deserves it. Anyway, they're here. They're coming out. And remember, this time we follow the floozy.
Hi.
Hi.
Baby's home.
Hi, babe.
Oh, get baby a drink.
Armand, Vince been giving you a hard time.
You wouldn't believe. First, it's all the usual shit about how beautiful I am and he's fallen in love with me.
Like they all do.
Then he pulls out the pictures you took.
He had them with him.
Puts them on the table.
And what did you say?
Well, I'm so shocked I don't know what to say. And then I come over all frightened because, I mean, who can be doing this? Somebody must be watching us.
And he didn't even think you might have set him up.
Oh, I think it crossed his mind, yeah. But with Vince, it's what's going on between his legs that matters, not his head. So I was able to talk him out of that one. No, he thinks it's somebody that knows who he is and has seen a chance to screw him. Babe, I left my cigars in the car. Do you think you could get them for me?
Sure.
Keep her here.
So what's he going to do?
Going to pay.
$5,000?
Promise me.
Yeah.
He talked about what would happen if his wife found out and how she'd probably divorce him and that'd cost him a fortune, so what else can he do?
So maybe, well, what do you think? Maybe with this one we could go back for seconds. Take the 5, then you carry on seeing him. I take some more pictures and we put the screws in for another 5.
Maybe. Siggy's, babe.
I'm going. Oh, sorry, we're just about to close. Oh, you're the gentleman that was here this morning.
I just wondered if I could have a quick word with Mr. Donovan.
Yes, I'm sure.
If you'd care to come this way.
So, go on. Tell me.
Well, we followed the lady after you dropped her off, and she had her own car park nearby. And we followed that to number 24 Orchard Drive, South Shore.
That's where she lives?
It looked like it. And then just to confirm things, we ran her name and address through the computer.
Oh, like I do when I have a new credit customer. We probably use the same databases.
Could be.
Anyway.
Which told us, yes, she owns the property, with a $40,000 mortgage.
Okay.
Melody Griffin seems to be her real name. Age 36.
36?
That's what it says.
Told me 28. Go on.
Unmarried, no record of any children. Couldn't find any record of employment either.
Self-employed beautician.
Yeah, okay.
Maybe she doesn't want the taxman to know. Anything else?
She was found guilty of soliciting June 94, September 97, January 98, then September 99. Charged with demanding money with menaces, found guilty and served a 6-month prison sentence.
Shit.
And one other thing that happened while we were watching the house. A man came out to collect something from a car. Well, the thing is, well, both my colleague and I are sure that it was the same man we saw waiting for you to come out of the Hourglass restaurant. We noticed then that he had a camera and looked like he was taking pictures.
I've been set up.
It does look like it.
Shit.
I've done a written report for you to keep, but they're the main points.
Little tart. The lying little... Okay. Okay, well, thank you, Mr. Lomax. You've done a good job. Saved me making an even bigger fool of myself than I've already. Looks like Graham's put the grills down. Gonna have to let you out the back way. You got us locked in here, Graham.
Oh yes. Sorry, shall I...
No, it's okay. Here, watch this. Graham, this shirt, what colour is it?
Colour? Yes, I'd say, green.
You would?
No?
No, green's pretty well spot on, thank you.
Thank you.
And what colour would you say?
Looks pink to me.
And me. See? This is what I have to put up with. I've a wife who doesn't trust me, a girlfriend who's out to take me for every penny, and if that weren't bad enough, I've an assistant who's colourblind. Can you believe that? No, you can't. Just be grateful, Mr. Lomax. Be grateful it's my life and not yours.
I told you not even to see the man. Not even to return his call. And what do?
Work for him. And proved you wrong in the process.
Me wrong? How was I wrong?
Well, you said Mr. Donovan was out for revenge. Well, he wasn't. He was looking for help because he was being blackmailed.
By his own mistress. I know I shouldn't be, but I'm almost on her side.
And so now you've told him this. What's he going to do about it?
No idea. Only thing I know for sure is he's not going to be handing over any $5,000.
Hi. Babe, what's the matter?
I've been to Weatherall Street.
And?
Nothing. I said, will you check? Because I'm expecting an important parcel. So he checks. But no.
Donovan's menswear?
Hi, Vince.
Melody.
So how's things?
Busy. How are you?
Oh, okay. I wondered, have you, paid that money?
Yep.
Really? You've sent 5,000 to the address they told you?
I told you I would, and I have.
Right.
So, when are we going to get together?
Soon. I just want to make sure these people have gone away.
You heard him. He sent the money.
Says he has.
Well, why should he lie? What about Weatherall Street? You think you can trust them?
They've been okay before.
Babe, are you being straight with me?
What are you trying to say?
Maybe you've debts, okay, but just tell me.
Jesus, you think I've taken the money?
Well, what else?
So you go and ask them whether I've collected anything?
That's your side of the operation. I don't go near that.
Only now you don't trust me.
I trust you, babe. Just what else can I think?
Think what the hell you like.
So, what's on the agenda for today?
Oh, watching and waiting, I should think. Maybe paying a few of these bills.
You want coffee?
Oh, please.
You've got a visitor.
Yes? Can I help?
Are you Mr. Lomax? Mr. Ben Lomax? Yes. Mr. Lomax, I'm Detective Sergeant Thompson. And can I ask who you are?
Certainly, officer. I'm Miss Anna Rochelle Myomi Brown.
Right. And what, you two work together?
Play together, too.
We're running the agency for my father. What's this about?
What this is about is we're investigating the death of a Miss Melody Griffin. Does that name mean anything to you?
Melody?
She's dead.
She's dead, yes.
What, an accident?
I don't think you could call it that, no. She was strangled, then her body dumped into the sea. Somebody walking his dog found her this morning underneath the North Pier.
It's here on the front page. Blackpool woman murdered. Body found on beach.
Poor girl.
But I still don't understand.
Because you won't listen.
I'll listen, all right, if somebody will just tell me, why did the cops come looking for you?
Well...
Oh, except, of course...
See?
I can understand it would look pretty strange that you've been working for both the wife and the husband, which, can I remind you, I did advise you not to do.
Why? You knew Melody was going to be murdered.
I knew something bad would come of it. But then why listen to me? I've only been doing the job
Daddy,
30 years.
If you want to know, the police came to us because after they managed to identify the body, right?
Right.
They went to talk to Melody's boyfriend.
What boyfriend?
The one she lives with.
Who'd taken the blackmail photographs.
Okay.
They talked to him, and he told them about Vincent Donovan, how they set up the blackmail scam.
Uh-huh.
Then they questioned Vincent Donovan, and he told them about employing me, and that's why they came to talk to us. Happy now?
I was happy already. I just wanted to be a little better informed.
Well, now you are.
But what I still don't know, what did the police think you knew that they didn't?
You followed Melody Griffin on 2 separate occasions?
Once when we were working for the wife, second time for the husband.
Would you like a coffee, officer?
No, I'm all right, thanks. Let's take the wife. You reported back to her and told her it was Melody Griffin that her husband was meeting, yes?
Yes.
How did she react to that?
She was upset.
Did she say anything about what she intended to do?
No.
Nothing at all?
No.
You mean like, if I get my hands on that woman, I'm gonna kill her? That sort of thing?
Let's talk about Mr. Donovan.
He wanted us to try and find out if Melody was involved in blackmailing him.
And you told him?
Well, we thought she was.
Since it was her boyfriend taking the pictures.
So then did Mr. Donovan say anything about how he intended to resolve the situation?
Just that he wasn't going to pay.
And that was all they wanted to know? What the Donovans might have said to you?
Yep.
I don't think he rated us too highly.
Meaning what?
Well, he more or less asked us what the hell we were doing playing private detectives anyway.
Strange line of work to be in, isn't it?
I think I explained that my
Why
father...
strange? We just help people who have problems.
And you think you're qualified to do that?
We're qualified enough. We're human beings.
So you think you might solve this particular case?
No.
We might.
Well, be sure and let us know. We wouldn't want to be still investigating in 6 months' time when you've got the answers.
Irregular police. They're all as suspicious of private investigators.
I'd call it more contemptuous.
Can be that too. But of course, Ben, where they do have a point, this whole business is no longer anything to do with you. You should never have got involved with the husband anyway.
You did mention that.
And now it's murder. Well, let me tell you, we do surveillance, tracing, and credit checks. We do not do murders.
Melody Griffin.
May she rest in peace.
Was into blackmail. So my question would be, who else was she blackmailing besides Vincent Donovan? All right, the police are concentrating on him because he's her most recent victim, but how many more have there been? All with a good reason for wanting her out the way.
You know, I think your daddy maybe was right when he said we've got to keep out of it. Leave it to the grown-up policemen.
I just think I might go back to Orchard Drive.
Thanks for listening. This is what Orchard Drive where Melody lived.
Yeah.
And do what?
No idea. Want to come?
I said I'd take Daddy to the hospital.
Yeah?
Hi. Can I talk to you about Melody Griffin?
Are you the press?
No. I'm the person who took pictures of her outside the Hourglass restaurant at the same time you did. I was working for the man she was blackmailing.
So what do you want?
Well, I'm just trying to clear my client's name and maybe help clear yours at the same time.
What did the doctor say?
Told me I was doing remarkably well. I said, so why I'm in such pain all the time? He said, that's your body protesting at what we've done to it, and gave me this prescription, which I suppose is to stop it protesting. I don't know.
Should I see if I can get these while you wait here?
I'll finish your coffee first. What's Ben doing?
Oh, this and that.
Hey, you've got to keep an eye on him. Make sure he doesn't overstep the mark with these cases. Because there's something about him, always has been, he doesn't know when to stop.
You're a private detective. Really?
Well, it surprises me too. And look, I'll be honest. It doesn't give me the right to ask you anything. Though it also means you can tell me anything you like and I can't do a damn thing about it.
I didn't kill her.
But you were blackmailing Vincent Donovan.
Yeah?
Was this something you and Melody had done before? With other men?
Couple of times, yeah. Which the police know. I've told them.
So, one of these other men might have killed her?
What I said. The police have checked it out and they don't think so.
So, who do you think killed her?
Vincent Donovan.
Yeah?
I'll tell you why I think that. Because the others were scared. Just wanted to pay and get out. But him... No, he was fooling around with us. Telling her he'd sent the money when he hadn't.
Right.
But Mel believed him. So she got it in her head I must have taken it. Which I suppose is what he was after doing. Setting us against one another. Anyway, that afternoon...
which?
That they reckon she died.
Yeah.
She told me she was going to go and see Mr. Donovan and sort out the business about the money. And I said, okay, you do that. So she went. Never came back.
Hiya, it's me. Hello? Hello? Anybody there? Oh, I suppose you're still with Dad. Anyway, I thought I'd let you know. I've been to Orchard Drive and spoken to the boyfriend, who thinks Vincent Donovan killed Melody. So I think I might have another word with our Mr. Donovan, or maybe Mrs. even. Which I know you'd say I shouldn't, but, well, you can tell me that later. Love you. Mrs. Donovan.
Oh, it's the,
Ben Lomax. I hope you don't mind me calling.
No, come in. I'm in the conservatory if you'd like to come through.
I suppose I should have phoned, but...
No, that's perfectly all right. Do sit down, please.
Thank you.
And can I offer you something? I'm just having a drink myself. Gin and tonic, or...
I won't, thanks.
Well, say if you change your mind.
You know about Melody Griffin, the woman who...
Oh, yes. Yes, it's terrible. Actually, I'm glad you've come. Because you're the one person I can ask.
Ask?
Which I probably shouldn't, but after all, you do already know a good deal about the state of my marriage, more than anybody else. Do you think my husband might have killed her?
Because she was trying to blackmail him?
Yes.
Have you asked him that?
He says I'm being ridiculous. Says, why should you have done such a thing when the blackmail couldn't possibly have worked, since I already knew what was going on? But you see, I'm not sure that's the point.
No?
When I first challenged Vincent about his relationship, he first of all denied it, which I suppose is what you would expect.
I suppose it is.
But then I showed him the photographs he'd taken, well, threw them at him, actually. And I won't deny I'd had a drink or two. And anyway, I ended up calling her all sorts of terrible names that I'd rather not repeat.
No.
And Vincent defended her. He said she wasn't the things I'd said, that she was attractive and And good company, everything I'm not, apparently. The point is, I think he was very hurt when he found she was only interested in taking his money. Very hurt and angry.
And you think that might have...
Made him kill her. Yes. I think it might.
Can I be of assistance, or are you just looking?
Can you tell me if Mr. Donovan is around? Vincent Donovan?
Is he expecting you?
No, I doubt he'll be doing that. All the same, I'd like to have a word.
Well, certainly, yes. Would you care to come this way?
Are you sure I can't offer you something?
Sure.
I wish I had your self-control. Mine went out some time ago, along with my figure.
The police must have talked to your husband.
Oh, for hours. Tell you the truth, I didn't think they were ever going to let him out. I thought, so this is it then. Over the years, I've had reason to speculate on just how my marriage might end, but Vincent locked up for murder was something I'd never even dreamt of.
But then they let him go.
Yes.
You don't happen to know why?
Oh, I suppose they don't have enough evidence.
Has he told you that?
Not in so many words. It's not a subject we can easily discuss.
No, please. Please, what are you doing? Please, let me go.
And where's your husband now?
Probably still at the shop. Or he'll have called somewhere for a drink. Anything rather than come home.
Okay. Well, I think I should be going.
Oh, no, I think this might be him. Hello?
Oh.
We're in here. Mr.
Lomax.
Mr. Lomax, the private detective is called. He's been keeping me company.
Well, aye.
Sorry to intrude.
That's okay. She's settled again.
See how he speaks to me.
I'll take that as a yes. So, poor Melody, eh?
Yes.
Has the wife offered you a drink?
Yes, I have.
I'm all right, thanks.
Thought you were giving up smoking.
I intend to.
Do you have any idea who might have killed Melody?
Yeah, I'd say, and I've said it to the police, I'd say try the boyfriend, the man with the camera.
Uh-huh.
Well, it seems pretty straightforward to me. They fell out, as thieves will, and he did for her.
Actually, I've talked to the boyfriend before coming here.
What? The police are employing you now?
No, nobody is. I just feel I've got a vested interest.
And do you have any theories? Who did kill her? You going to tell us?
I can't tell you. I don't know.
But you have your suspicions. Tell us about them. We won't be offended, will we, my dear?
I shan't be.
Who's your main suspect? Me, the wife, or the boyfriend? Who's favourite?
Might be somebody else altogether.
No. No, I don't think you believe that. Otherwise you wouldn't be here.
Please don't kill me. I'll do whatever you want. Please, help me, somebody. Help me!
When Melody rang and asked you about the money, you said you'd already paid it.
I was lying.
It's what he's good at.
And this led to an argument between her and her boyfriend because each thought the other was keeping the money for themselves.
I imagine it might have.
Oh, he's told me. It did.
Right.
At which point, she says she's going to go to your shop and sort this out.
He told you that too?
Yeah.
Then you're ahead of me.
So, did you see her?
No. I've already told the police I wasn't at the shop on what they refer to as the afternoon in question.
So where were you?
Golf club. Playing in the President's Handicap, as any number of people will testify, and have already.
So, if Melody did go to the shop...
She'd have talked to Graham, which would have been an education for her. She'd have enjoyed that.
Graham does his best.
I'm sure he does. Trouble is, what kind of best can a colourblind half-wit manage?
Please, don't start on Graham, just as a way of getting at me.
Mr. Lomax here has seen what I have to put up with. And why do I? Why don't I just send him back to the institution he came from?
Be quiet!
Because I can't. Because, see, Mr. Lomax, Graham is her brother.
No, don't. Please. I don't want to die.
He's been in all sorts of institutions since he was a kid. Then they let him out, and she asked me, can I find him work? Well, I should have said no, but I'm as...
And would he have known about you seeing Melody?
Well, I've caught him before listening in on the phone in the shop. He might well have, yeah. And then once, when I was meeting her, I thought I saw him watching.
And he wouldn't have liked it?
No. His sister's the only one who has ever had any time for him. So he lives for her. Would do anything to protect her. Jesus, yeah. It all makes sense. Go left. Left here. No. If Melody turned up looking for me and found Graham instead...
And he knew who she was.
Then he'd see it as a chance to pay back his sister for all she'd ever done for him. He'd see it as the way to saving our marriage.
There's nobody here.
I wouldn't be too sure. He hasn't set the alarm, which he would have if he'd left for good. Let's try upstairs.
Upstairs?
Well, there's a couple of storerooms where he sometimes likes to hang out. I've never known just what he does up here. Maybe now we're going to find out. What the...
Anna?
Okay, Graham.
No!
Graham, wait!
You're comfortable there?
I'm fine.
Now, this is my chance to look after you.
I don't need looking after.
They said you might still be in shock.
Look, can I ask? Unless you'd rather not talk about it.
I'm going to have to anyway.
You went to the shop looking for Ben.
Which was my fault.
Nothing was your fault.
But the only person there was this Graham.
Who led me upstairs and then put something over my mouth.
Yeah, they think it was chloroform.
Next thing I knew, he had tied me down to this table
And he was trying to strangle her when we got there.
And then he jumped.
Took one look at us and then jumped straight through the window. Landed in the street, broke his ankle. Still there when the police arrived.
And this was all because he thought he had to keep young women away from his sister's philandering husband.
Well, plus I suppose he was getting an appetite for it.
Good thing you didn't take my advice and leave Will alone.
Oh, you mean I did something right?
No, but you got the right result. OK, I'm going to put some soup on for anybody that wants it.
Thank you for rescuing me.
I had to. I love you.
You're a great detective.
You think?
Blackpool's best. That's if we're staying.
We're staying. For now.
In The Blackpool Detective, Ben was played by Jason Doan, Anna by Abigail Ramsey, Stan, John Branwell, and Melody, Deborah McAndrew. Vince was played by Glenn Cunningham, Beatrice, Sarah Parks, Colin, Kieran Cunningham, and Graham and Detective Thompson were played by Mark Chatterton. The Blackpool Detective was written by Peter Worley and directed in Manchester and on location in Blackpool by Pauline Harris.